All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Voice of the Colts podcast. I'm your host, Reef, voice of the Colts, self-anointed voice of the Colts, and this is episode number 12. Am I right about that? Is it 12, 13? I think we are flying through. It's episode 13! We're flying through. The final episode of the regular season as the Colts have finished with the third seed in the AFC South. So we're not in the playoffs. And we suck. I'm smiling because I'm a maniac. I'm really excited for the offseason. I'll tell you what, guys. I've been over the regular season now for over a month. I've pretty much counted us out for a month now. You guys have seen it. Some of y'all hated my negativity. Some of y'all shared my negativity. Some of you guys hate my takes. Some of you guys... I don't think anyone shares my takes. I think everyone thinks I'm an idiot. But regardless, I'm still here because you can't stop me from hitting record, baby girl. So today, as promised, we have some friends of the show here with me today. I have them all muted. They might be talking. I'm going to unmute them in a second, and they might be mid-conversation because I was dealing with some technical issues, and I don't know if they are aware that I've just resolved them. But in any case, you're going to hear from some of our friends. They've created some off-season plans, and we're going to go over all of those and have a really, really good time as we look forward to the future. A couple of things that we want to just go over real quick. Let me unmute them and bring you guys into the world of the Voice of the Colts podcast Discord. As I said, they were going to be mid-conversation as soon as I unmuted them. What's up, Jesse? Jesse started talking first, so we're going to introduce my main man. Jesse is back on the podcast with us. I know a lot of you guys know Jesse. He's been with us, I think, more than anyone. He's been here, 3-4 times already? Jesse, say what's up to the people, man.
How's everybody doing?
Yep, that's nice, short, and sweet. And then after Jesse, we got my main man, Ben. Ben is another one. Ben from South Bend. My main man, Ben, just graduated Purdue. He's a monster. Been on the show twice already. This is, I think, his third appearance on the show. Ben, go ahead. Number three, man. Say what's up. Anything you want to say?
I'm very happy to be back. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to kill.
Love that. Guys, that's not where the guests stop. The long-awaited appearance, at least for us here at the Voice of the Colts Discord. We've been waiting to get this man on the airwaves for a minute. He's hailing in from the West Coast. This is the host of the For the Shoe podcast.
Yes,
my man Lam in here. Let me get your camera up here so that people can see your pretty face. Go ahead, talk to him, man.
Hey, it's good to be here. Finally, it's been a month, because living in the West Coast is kind of hard to, stay communicative, but we finally got it done. I'm here. I'm ready to talk Colts football. Let's do it.
Listen, and guys, if y'all want to join the podcast, all you got to do, join the Discord in the link in the description of the video. If you're watching it from a clip on TikTok, if you're watching it from a clip on YouTube, go ahead and DM me and I will get you the link because I know sometimes I can't link those. For whatever reason, TikTok doesn't want me to link my YouTube channel. So I don't know what's going on with them. And, I'm just not popular enough, I guess. So maybe also follow me on TikTok, assholes. Anyway, so the Colts, like I said, we lost to the Texans in Week 18, 38-30. We finished the year 8-9, started at 8-2. So as you can imagine, 7 games in a row we lost. Everyone in the world is pretty damn frustrated. I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about the game that we watched that meant absolutely nothing to anyone besides the fans that wanted to see someone like Riley Leonard ball out. So we'll start with Lam. I want you to take the floor here, man, since you're the guest of honor today. Talk to me, man. How did you feel about my main man, Riley Leonard?
Man, first of all, I'll definitely apologize to Riley Leonard because I was definitely wrong and skeptical about Riley Leonard. I didn't think he can even throw that deep.
You call him Sam Ehlinger. I ain't forget.
Yes, I did.
I ain't forget.
And he's much better. He's much better than Sam Ehlinger. Much, much better. Much more poised than I expected. He's, he turned the ball over a few times, but, he's not undrafted, 6th-round rookie. But he was very impressive.
Yeah,
I think go ahead.
It's going to happen with rookies. They're going to try hard to prove themselves. He only had one game to really prove himself, so I understand Like, to me, what I saw when I saw him make some of those mistakes is that it wasn't a talent issue. It wasn't he read the field wrong. It wasn't that he couldn't throw the ball hard enough or do this or do that. It was none of that. It was simply forcing a play that probably wasn't really there, or holding on the ball trying to make a play that wasn't really there, because every quarterback always wants to make a play, gets strip sacked in that scenario, or forcing that ball with the interception. It was a little wonky. But those plays to me, I just screams of a guy desperate to make a play, not a guy that isn't good enough to make those plays. So as he gets, more mature through the game and he gets a couple seasons under his belt, maybe a little more experience as a starter, we could see more. Obviously, no one is going into next season expecting him to be the starter, but from what I can tell, and my whole thing, that everyone wanted to chastise me for when I said we shouldn't start Phillip Rivers, we should start Riley Leonard. I don't know why we signed Phillip Rivers. I was like, oh, well, Phillip gives you a much better chance to win. I said, but you gotta see what you have. And Lam, you specifically, I talked to you about this specifically, and you did see my point after I laid it out to you, so I will give you credit for that. The whole reason was we wanted to see, because if he was good, we'd feel a lot more comfortable about Daniel Jones. That was my exact point that I gave about why we wanted to start. So my question to you right now is, how do you, did it make you, in fact, feel more comfortable down Daniel Jones?
Yes.
It's a
If
good
we
feeling,
don't want
right?
to rush Daniel Jones. We don't want to rush him. That if he is not ready by week 1, I'm 100% comfortable with Riley Leonard starting week 1 or the first month of the season. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, as long as he just do the Sam Ehlinger type of role, or even the Phillip Rivers type of role, but more athletic version and can actually throw the ball deep. But yeah, you're 1,000% right, and I see why. But yeah, the only reason why I agree with the Phillip Rivers signing is because I thought Riley Leonard was hurt. But like you said, it was more of a Hail Mary move, and they panicked. When you're not, when you're panicky mode, you're not logical. So you're just gonna do a Hail Mary type of thing. You just be like, oh, Phillip Rivers, come over here, even though you're 44 years old and haven't played in 5 years. So, but yeah, Riley Leonard, he looked like an NFL caliber quarterback. He even starting caliber, but we're not gonna go that far yet. But
No, I'm going to go that far. I
yeah,
feel vindicated, man. I love that you said it. I feel vindicated, dude. I'm bathing in vindication
yeah,
right now.
If I could interject here
You
just
can.
really quickly about Riley. So I'm obviously a big Colts fan, but I'm also just a big football fan in general, and I watch a lot of college football also. And when I saw him at Notre Dame last year, even though they did make the national championship game, he was not. I would watch him, and he would throw these just bad passes, interceptions. He was a run first kind of guy. And my thought always was that he's a great
yes,
athlete and he's got a decent arm, but I don't know if he's physically talented enough to play at the NFL. The progression that I saw from his last year or his only year at Notre Dame into that player that he was in week 18 of this season is unbelievable to me. And I don't know if I would assume it's a combination of Rivers, Steichen, Daniel
yep,
Jones to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Mm-hmm.
development is just
It,
really unbelievable.
it
it's
almost
maturity
it
as well.
almost makes you feel like Shane Steichen is a competent coach, right? It almost.
Oh,
maybe
really?
maybe just a
Said that.
little
I
bit,
always said that.
Are we saying Chris
I never,
Ballard made a good pick? Is that what?
Yeah.
In the 6th round? Absolutely, man. He does it all the time, baby. Was it Zaire Franklin a 6th round pick, or was he 7th? He might have been a 7th round pick.
He was
He was a
seventh
He's
7th.
probably a
out of
7th round pick.
Syracuse.
Yeah,
He's a
and
slam
that was his
dunk
biggest
after the
hit.
4th round. He's a slam dunk after the 4th
All
round.
right. So with that conversation, I really wanted to intro that conversation just because I feel so damn vindicated in that, with Riley Leonard really holding it down for me. But I wanted to ask you guys, and I'll start with myself first, and I'll do this really quickly. I wanted to see how many of you guys had a chance to reflect on the season and how you guys feel about the season as a whole before we get into our whole off-season plans and what we want to see, how we want to see the team improved and whatnot. I for one will say it, man, like before the season started, and I know Ben brought this up in a conversation on the first podcast he was on with us, where he said, before the season started, we had very, very low expectations, and as the season started progressing, you're seeing an incredible 8-2 start that you never saw coming, and we're gonna be happy with that even as the losses started to pile up. And it got me thinking, like, before the season started, I probably maxed us at like 6 wins. Like, in my head, 6 wins was probably our ceiling. And the fact that we started 8-2, now I will say the season collapse is extremely disappointing. It hurts. It was very frustrating to watch. It really sucked to watch. But when you look at the season as a whole, in my opinion, I feel better about this team now than I did prior to the start of the season. And I feel like we're heading in the right direction. I'm sounding a lot like Carly Ursay Gordon on today's press conference that everyone's hating on her for. But I genuinely, I agree with everything that they were saying. Like, this team made improvements in a lot of places. And I think the number one thing that we have to work on is overcoming adversity, which is a very corporate level, response, but it's the reality. Like, those little things that we have to overcome, I think are exactly that. They're little things. I don't think this offseason needs to be some crazy shop everyone out and go. I think we can do very minimal and still be very, very competitive heading into next year. So overall, reflecting on the season, I'm pretty satisfied with the progress. Not satisfied with the results. I'm satisfied with the progress of the team, and that's what I'll focus on going into the offseason. We'll take it over to Ben, since I already have your camera up. Ben, go ahead, talk to me. How do you feel about the end of the season?
As a general, I do agree. In general, I do agree with that sentiment. I also thought the ceiling was 5 or 6 wins. I was really upset with the Daniel Jones starting announcement when it initially came out. I remember I was going to get dinner with a couple of my friends, and I called Steichen after the announcement. I called Steichen a dead man walking. I was really really low on the season, and after the 8-2 start, and obviously I was thrilled at the start. And the 7 straight losses is just an unbelievable, catastrophe. And I'm really, really upset about how that all turned out. And this is, I think Lam has brought this point up a lot. We've collapsed late in the season several times over the past few years, and it's just incredibly frustrating. And I do think Steichen is a good coach and a good offensive mind and a play caller. I think we have to examine what's really causing these teams to collapse in the way that they are. And I don't know if that's a simple fix, I guess is my point. So with the whole season as a whole, 8 wins, you're right. It is progress. It's better than where I thought we'd be. But God, it's really hard not to be frustrated with the way that it turned
Give us
out.
a grade. I forgot to give a grade. I give it a C+. Give us a grade. Season grade.
Yeah, I'm gonna C high. Yeah, I'll go C plus. We saw the potential of what can happen when you have a guy that can make the plays that Jones could. When the defense was playing competently, even if it wasn't against super high end competition. C plus, B minus. I would
C plus.
C low B minus, like 80%, I guess.
All right, yeah. So before we move on to the next person, I just want everyone to acknowledge that I am an influencer. You see what I just did there? I am an influencer. You guys can stop calling me out on my title. I'm the man. All right, Jesse, go ahead. You're up, my man. Talk to me. How do you feel about the season? How did it all go down?
I think this season it was definitely unexpected. Let's just to say the least. I remember I was having dinner with my wife, and it was week 1, and I was sitting there like, oh God, Daniel Jones is our starter. Now this is before I started really deep diving and kind of looking at everything, and then I saw him play, and I said, oh, whoa, this might be a different team. And then the collapse is disappointing. I think we could all agree on that. But the way the season started, I mean, and the biggest thing from what I took this year versus last year you had DeForest Buckner, you had Kenny Moore, you had other guys on the team calling each other out, and they weren't a team. This year when they lost or when they won, they lost and won as a team. I think, and that's a huge step forward going from last year, where I mean, you had Kenny Moore saying, they asked him like, so everybody tries. He goes, not everybody. People are late. Not everybody's putting all the work. I think this year is a complete 180, and it starts with personnel. And if I had to give this season just based on what the expectations were, because I think people were expecting us to in the top 10 in the draft and select either like Cade Klubnik or Drew Alar or somebody, I'd give it a B, give it a solid B.
All right, a little solid B. I like that. You mentioned something about the locker room and about the guys being late from last year and things kind of shifting. And there is one player that I think not one player that you would credit, but there's a player that you can give some of this credit to, who today
Yeah.
mentioned that his focus for the whole season was making sure the locker room was focused, everyone was engaged, everyone was all in. And that guy is Lom's favorite player on the Indianapolis Colts, Zaire Franklin. Lom, go ahead and give us your end of the season grade for the Indianapolis Colts. I could see the frustration on your face. It's like,
Man,
talk to me. Give me a grade, man. Give me a review. How do you feel?
I'll give it a C minus. I was one of the few that was slightly optimistic about the season, even though I was the one, rooting for AR. But the reason why I was optimistic, I was like, you know what? Shane Steichen almost took the Colts to the playoffs, 98 record with Minshew. And Daniel Jones is way better than Gardner Minshew, let's be real.
Mhm.
That's true.
So I was like, you know what? If Daniel Jones can, not turn the ball over, just do what Mitchell did, but at a higher level, slightly higher level, we can win 11 games. So I predict 11-6. But I did not expect, the offense to be historically good. And one thing that we were not doing last year is blowing out bad teams. Because last year we were barely
Mhm.
beating the Patriots and the
Right.
Jets and
Right.
the Dolphins without Tua. So this year was a
Which was a
lot
big deal because
different.
everyone was saying we had such an easy schedule, but it's like, all right, even if, at the beginning of the year, like, yeah, even if they are an easy schedule, it's not like we were barely beating those guys. We were
Mhm.
crushing
Yeah.
those teams.
And we had a plus minus, I think plus 116 by like week 7.
Yeah, no,
Like
it was
this
unreal.
team was dominating.
Yeah, it was unreal.
Like even the Chargers,
Hmm.
like the Chargers are in the playoffs right now.
Broncos too.
Yeah, it,
I mean, we didn't
yeah,
dominate them, but
it,
we beat them.
yeah, it was a promising start, 8-2. So I'm not gonna be the one that's gonna act like this team wasn't good, at some point in the season, and I'm not gonna be the one that's going to turn on Ballard for making that trade because I was the one that saying get a pass rusher. I did not expect him to go that freaking, bold and get Sauce
Mhm.
Gardner. Yeah, I was happy about that trade, and I'm still happy about that trade. I still stand with it, so I'm gonna give it a C minus only because they lost 7 in a row. That's terrible. And we had
It drops the
games that
grade
we should have won.
heavily. It drops the grade heavily because I think I'm a
Yeah.
B plus kind of grade here if it wasn't for the 7 straight dropped games.
Mhm.
It's just like you can't just overlook that. Like I think generally though we're all in that same boat where like it wasn't a total disaster, but it also obviously wasn't a huge success. We're somewhere kind of in the middle there. Um, which is odd because if you look at the talk online, which is common for online conversation, it's very doom and gloom in Indianapolis right now, which is really why I wanted to bring this whole thing together to do our offseason plans to kind of plant the seeds of hope so we can start to go and imagine all the beautiful ways that this offseason can go, and it probably won't go, but at least we can dream, right? At least we can do that.
Mhm.
So, Ben, I know you're short on time. Viewers, I'm sorry. I know you guys really, really love Ben. Everyone's very, very excited to have him here. He is short on time, so we're going to get him out here right now to do his off-season plan. I gave everyone some homework, and let me lay it out. So the offseason, we are projected about $45 million in cap space going into the offseason. We have some key players that we are looking to re-sign, including Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce, Braden Smith, Kwity Paye, all types of players that are on there. Nick Cross, another one, that are due up for contracts. And we also have holes that we need to fix, like edge rush and linebackers and all the sorts. So gave everyone the homework. Keep it within the realm of possibility. And when I say within the realm of possibility, I don't mean it's got to be like 90% chance it happens. I just mean that you can't trade Michael Pittman Jr. and retain 4 first-round picks. If that's your plan, throw it in the garbage. It's not happening, right? But you can, maybe configure contracts, do all those cool things. So that was the homework I gave to all the people here on the podcast and all the viewers at home. So hopefully you guys did some of those, and I might read some of the TikTok comments on that clip that I posted about that. But we're gonna swing this over to Ben. Ben, go ahead and man, the floor is yours, dude. Talk to me. How are you handling this as Chris Ballard?
So I was doing a little bit of research. I was, making my plan, doing my research, and then the game happened on Sunday, and it really, I don't want to say it changed things. And then with the press conference and everything that Carly has said over the past few years, I think one thing is very clear here is that Daniel Jones is going to be here next year. I think that's pretty much an immutable fact of life at this point. And I do if he can come back from this, he got the stem cell Achilles surgery. He's supposed to be back in time for training camp. If he's
Mhm.
back, awesome. If not, Riley Leonard
Revolutionary
I think has
medicine,
shown that he's
baby.
capable. Riley Leonard is more than capable of starting 2 or 3 games and keeping us in the hunt at least at that point. So doing all of that, I think the number one priority this offseason, I think Alec Pierce needs to stay on this team.
Well,
I
before you
think
go to Alec
he's
Pierce,
got
how much you say Daniel Jones is coming back? How much are you looking to offer? Like you're Chris Ballard right now. How much are you willing to offer him?
I'm giving him 2 years. I'm giving him 45 million every year, or 45 million in total. So I'm thinking
Oof, I'm
22,
about to say
22
45
million
million a
a year.
year. Ooh.
Yeah, no. I'm giving him a 2 year, $45 million contract. I think if he's shown that he can be that same guy that he was after or before the injury, I think that's more than fair. I think that he's a smart guy. He likes it here. He and Steichen are obviously really close. I think that incentivizes him. I think he wants to stay here. I think he knows the situation is good for him. I think he'd be willing to work with the Colts on that specifically. That's my one start with the
All right, so
quarterback.
you're
Our number
utilizing
one,
what 22.5 million of cap on Daniel Jones because you said 45 over 2 years,
yes,
so that's 22 and a half.
yes.
Okay, so 22 and a half already of the 45 that you're allotted. Go ahead.
And then I think the next thing that I think Ebukam and, hold on, where's the other one? Ebukam and Pay, I think they're both gone. I would not re-sign them. I don't
Okay.
think their salaries matched their expected value at all. Um, who was Adio Barway, the
Atabare?
defensive tackle that
Yeah,
Adibare?
Atabare.
I think
Somewhere.
he was as good as Kwity Paye this season. Like in all honesty,
Way
like
I
better.
like
Way
Atabare.
better.
I like Atabare.
Mhm.
I like
Good
Adibari too.
rotational
Neville
player.
Gallimore gave us really good minutes when Buckner went down. Like
Yeah.
those guys are, I Ebukam and Pay take up an exorbitant amount of our cap space. I think they should be gone. I don't think we sign them at all. The next thing I think we do, I do think we trade Pittman Jr. I don't know how high his value is exactly. I think we could probably get a third for him, a second or a third maybe. I don't think he fits in what we're doing right now, and I think if given the choice between him or Pierce, I think Pierce is incredibly important to this offense, and I think he's
Mhm.
gotten better every single year that he's been here. I think he's dynamic as hell. He's a good route runner. He's got great hands. He's an ideal receiver for a quarterback like Jones. I think it's really important that we keep him as well.
So you're trading Michael
Um,
Pittman Jr. and that's freeing
I'm
up
trading
another
Michael Pittman Jr.
$24 million. So you're back. You're pretty much the trade for Michael Pittman for you covers the cost of Daniel Jones essentially, and maybe an
Yes,
extra with 2 million
essentially.
to spare. Um, so yeah, let's say you're still sitting at like 45 million. Who are you looking to bring in?
I'm looking at Joey Bosa from Buffalo.
Okay.
I think that
Yes.
I'm staying away from Hendrickson. I think Hendrickson is injury prone. I think this whole contract dispute is the contract dispute that happened with Cincinnati. I think kind of shows that he's not someone that we really want. I think that he's on the wrong side of 30. He's got some injury history in the past. I don't think that he's someone that we need. I would bring Joey Bosa based on his talent and hit the high end of his talent. Um, I would also bring in.
I love it. He's got the notebook. He's going through the
Got the
notebook, the
notebook.
binder. He went full
Absolutely
cosplay
fine.
as Chris Ballard today, dude.
I got the binder. I got the binder right here. I would like to keep Jermaine Pratt. I think
Okay.
he's on a 1 year right now,
Yeah, he's
right?
1 year. He won't be too expensive to
Mhm.
re-sign. You probably get him
I
five,
agree.
six million.
I think Pratt is good. I think he's a good veteran leadership to keep around. I'm with Alam on this one. Zaire Franklin's got to go. Unfortunately, the amount of money he's making with his inability to cover passes.
So you're cutting
I like
Zaire. You said you're
Zaire.
cutting him,
I'm cutting Zaire. Look,
asshole.
if he has trade value, find it. If we get a fifth, sixth rounder for him, awesome. But if I don't know what the market for an older linebacker who can't cover, who misses tackles a high amount of the time. I don't see what the market for him is going to be, and that is unfortunate. I liked him 2 3 years ago, but I think it's time. And one other thing that I think we really have to do here, and I saw this quote, and it really made me happy because I like this. Philip Rivers said that he thinks that he can't, like he was being humble about it. He says, "I think that I have the ability to be a coach in this league after coming back. Do whatever it takes to keep Philip Rivers in this organization, quarterback coach." volunteer assistant assistant to the head coach, if you want. I think his insight for Riley Leonard, Richardson, and Jones is incredibly valuable. I think he provides an
Do you
unbelievable
think that he
amount
would do
of.
it this year, like this coming year, or do you think, because like I know his son is like senior year of entering his senior year, and I know he coaches his high school team, and they've had a lot of success and
I
haven't
don't
had the state champion yet. So
I don't know, but the quote that he said, the exact quote was something along the lines of, "I know that I can coach at this level,"
yeah,
and that
I
made me
think I
think that
remember
if he
listening
doesn't,
to the interview that when he said that. I do recall that
and
that sentiment from him.
I like Phil. I've always loved Phil. I really think that he could be have incredible value to this organization. So
How much are you
I
signing
don't
Alec
think
Pierce
any
for?
of that. That is the other thing that I was talking about. That this game on this weekend really threw everything out of whack here, because you watch him sometimes and like, obviously it wasn't his fault with a lot of like, because Rivers isn't the ideal quarterback for a receiver right him, but even then he had 2 touchdowns in the 49ers game, and he had 2 with Riley Leonard thrown to him on Sunday. Like
Before the ejection.
I don't know. I have no idea.
No, I think he's
I
an
want to
elite
do pretty
receiver,
much
man.
whatever it takes to keep him.
Hmm.
But if someone wants to go give him 30 million a year, I don't think we should match it. I think that would be harmful to the team as a whole. I don't think he's worth 30 million a year. But
So in that sense, your
22,
alternate
23.
route is not trading Michael Pittman Jr. So you got to situate the Alec Pierce contract before you decide
Right.
anything on
That's why I said
Michael
I
Pittman
think the
Jr.
main thing we have to worry about right now
Is
is
Alec
getting
Pierce.
Alec Pierce back
Hmm.
in the building.
Okay.
And so I think all of that, I think you guys generally, I don't think any of it, you might have, disagreements on the minutia of it. I don't think anything of that is scorching hot. So I saved my scorcher for the very last one right here.
Okay. Here we go.
I'd like to know what Jonathan Taylor's trade value is. I'd really like to think
Mm.
Ooh.
exactly what he's worth to different organizations right now.
I
I
love that you
love
said it.
Taylor,
I
and
love that you said it.
I
I think
I
the Colts
think
have a
he's
responsibility to field all offers for anybody, not just
I
Jonathan
think
Taylor, for
he's this
anybody. But
outside of
Jonathan Taylor is an
McCaffrey.
interesting one.
Is he the best? Is he the best running back in the
Hmm.
NFL? Maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
You can make an argument. If someone is willing to give if you go to, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. Who's
What would
a
be the price that would have you licking your chops and you'd be like, I'll do
trying to
it?
think. Maybe like
What's the thing?
maybe if we go to the Bears and the Bears say, hey, we'll give you Odunze and a second for Jonathan Taylor. I'd take
That's
that.
it? That's all
I'd
it would
take
I'll
take?
that.
take that. I'll take that in a
Really?
heartbeat.
Yeah.
You guys would
I will
take
take
Rome
that.
that?
Odunze is a first round wide
Odunze in
receiver
a
and
second for JT?
Odunze.
Yes.
Oh,
We're
Odunze
not
is
filling
such a
any need with
dynamic receiver.
Odunze unless you're
With
letting.
the receiver.
I don't
Yeah, but
know,
it's
man.
always
That
Like
was an example
right
off
now,
the top of my head.
as it stands right now, we have Michael Pittman Jr. We are working on the contract for Alec Pierce, and we have Josh Downs. Those are our 3 guys,
Here's
right? And then
here's another here's a wait, yeah,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Here's one other thought that I just came to me right here, because I'm a Purdue guy and I love this guy because he went to Purdue. If the Chiefs desperately need a running back, they do not have a running back. Taylor or George Karlaftis and a second and a third.
It actually
You
might
know,
help the Chiefs out because they're gonna cap
this is
space
your
out.
dream off season. So I'll be honest, when you said it was scorching hot, brother, that burned. That's a scorching hot. You might be on an island by yourself on that one. Now, I don't think it's scorching hot to field offers for him, but especially the first one, the Romo Dunze in a second, to me is, and then Lam jumped in like, yeah, I'm taking that. I'm actually shocked to hear you guys say that. Like for me, I would make the price tag for Jonathan Taylor kind of like almost like desperately high. Like I'm not looking to trade Jonathan Taylor, but if you're willing to send me, the everything but the kitchen sink, I'm obviously gonna field the offer. But Romo Dunze in a second does not move the needle nearly enough. Not even close to me,
I
honestly.
think
I hang up
I
without even
think
saying no. I just hang up. That was the
I
offer.
think
I
that's
didn't work.
fair. That's a fair sentiment to have. My one qualm with that is I don't think we should be low. I think trading Taylor is a possibility that we should entertain. And if we make that starting price too high, we're not going to get that negotiation to come. Like, obviously, no one's going to offer us 2 firsts for Taylor. But if you make the asking price way too high to start and you don't even entertain some of these
But
lower end
my thing is,
offers and
what's
you
the
can't
reason you're
haggle your
trading
way up,
Taylor though? Then what's the reason you're trading Taylor exactly?
I have long felt that I'm not a big running back guy, and I think
Sure,
his
I
regression,
understand
I
that.
don't want to call it a regression, but
He had a great season.
he has
Hard to call it a
really slowed
regression.
down in production over the last 5 or 6 games, and that's my
Mhm.
hesitancy. I don't think he's overpaid. I love him as a guy. I love him on the team. I think if we can use him to make the team better, I think we have a responsibility to do so.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but and again, the only thing I get stuck on is the offer that the hypothetical offer that you brought in, which I don't think makes us better. I think it makes us exponentially worse. You lose a game changing running back, and you bring in a wide receiver that is, I would argue, maybe not even as good as Alec Pierce. Like I would say, Alec Pierce is just as valuable as Romo Dunze. Like you really didn't like improve the wide receiver room because I'm assuming when you bring Romo Dunze, either Alec or Pittman are gone in this scenario where
In that
now you
scenario,
brought in
yeah, I'm
Romo
thinking
Dunze. I
Pittman
don't think
goes.
you've
Mhm.
improved that much. Now, obviously, the second round pick, I like second round picks, especially when Chris Ballard is drafting them. I have no problem with them. That's how we got guys like Jonathan Taylor in the first place. So and Michael Pittman, right? So I got no problem with him getting a second round pick out of that. I just don't see the pick that's gonna make us better after losing Jonathan Taylor. It's hard for me to kind of wrap my head around that. Again, the reason why I would field the offers is because he's probably the best running back in football and he can attract some pretty nice and generous offers. I don't view that one necessarily as a generous offer. That's, I guess, my only opinion on that is I just don't view that as a generous enough offer. I'm looking
Fine.
for first round picks
That
at
was just
least on
off the
first rounds.
top of my
Yeah.
head, whatever. But
No,
like
I get it. I
if we can
understand.
get a
I'm just
first,
saying. I think that the offer that I'm looking for is one that we're 99% chance we're not gonna get, and that's okay. I'm not looking to trade Jonathan Taylor, but I'll accept it if it's something that I just can't refuse. Something I can't refuse
I
is
agree.
not Romo Dunze and a second round pick. I'm hanging up the phone without even saying no. You know what I mean? Like I'm refusing
What about
that one.
Karloftis? What about Karloftis in a
I
second
don't.
though?
The Karloftis one intrigued me a little bit. It did intrigue me a little bit. I am not sure if number one. I don't even know if Kansas City would be willing to part from George Karloftis. I mean, if they want to send us Karloftis for Jonathan Taylor, and we can also get picks in return, I'm a little intrigued. I'll give you that. I'm a little bit more intrigued. Karloftis is a bigger, a game-changing kind of player. I don't want to say he's like an X-Factor edge rusher yet, but he's young. What is he? He's like 23, 20, 24 maybe?
He was drafted after his 3rd year at Purdue when I was a freshman. So he's 2 years older than me, and I'm turning 23, so he's 25,
25.
maybe 24, 25.
24, 25.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean, it's an interesting one. I'm intrigued, but I'm not sold. I'm intrigued, not sold. If it's a
That's
first round
fair.
pick or second round pick with it, I doubt that we'd see a first round pick with it. But I'm intrigued, just not sold. Because again, his ceiling hasn't been discovered yet, or maybe it has, and we just are hopeful that it's not been discovered yet. That's where my concern would be for that. Um,
Yeah, so
but I do
one
get
last
where
thing
you're
before I
coming
have
from with the
to
running back being. You don't win championships with the best running back in the league. It doesn't happen. So
one
I
last thing I
understand
want to
that.
ask you before I head out. If someone offers you a first round pick for Taylor straight up, what are your thoughts on that?
Not enough. I'll be quick. Not
Not
enough.
enough?
no.
Not enough. First round pick is enough.
I think that's enough. I would take it.
One first round pick, not enough. Because number one, you have to remember this is a lottery ticket. So you're gambling on that first round pick, and you don't have any guarantee that you're going to get the guy that you want. Because if you're doing that, there's a guy that you want. That's the whole reason you're trading to get to the first round pick. There's clearly a guy that you want. Maybe there's three. Maybe there's something like that. But the odds of you actually getting that guy are lower, and the odds of that guy panning out aren't guaranteed either. You know what you have with Jonathan Taylor. You got to give me more than one lottery ticket before I can sit there and say yes. One first round pick is definitely not enough. At least with the George Karloftis situation, you have a guy that you have at least some intel on. You like him. He's got a lot of upside. Like, there's stuff that you can have some security with in that trade. One first round pick, you get absolutely no security. How many busts in the first round have we seen? Like, and then people talk about it all the time with Chris Ballard drafting the first round. Now, not that I agree. I actually liked a lot of his first round picks. But just the optics of that in general, like, people are already not gonna be on board because like they don't trust Chris Ballard to draft talent in the first round. So you're risking a lot with a guy that you know who is best running back in the league, right? Whether it's arguable or it's debatable or whatever, that's just already impressive enough that he's in the debate for who the hell knows what you get with that lottery ticket, you know? So
So
I would say no.
if you're Chris Ballard, would you rather have one first rounder for Chris Ballard or 7 seventh rounders for Chris Ballard?
It depends on what I need. I think it'll depend on the situation. If I need develop players that I need to develop, that I have time to develop and stuff, and at positions I have time to develop them at, I'll take the seventh rounders. If I need an immediate day one starter at a very important position, maybe like edge rusher or something, I would really like to have the first rounder, but again, I think we found a lot of success in the middle rounds with those. I don't put as much value into first round picks as many others do, because again, you're talking about, it's a lottery, you know, and
Yeah.
when you're talking about trading a
Yeah.
guy like Jonathan Taylor for strictly for a lottery ticket, like, it's not enough for me. It's just not enough. Like, I would trade Michael Pittman, and I don't think we would get a first round pick for Michael Pittman, but I would take the second rounders with Michael Pittman. You know, second and third, or whatever you could salvage from that, maybe 2 seconds, however you can get it. I would take that for Michael Pittman, because we're not hurting ourselves too much by losing Pittman. We'd be hurting ourselves a whole hell of a lot by losing Jonathan Taylor. You'd be losing a massive part of your offense.
Because then it turns into the Titans when they traded A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and you look at the way the Titans are looking right now too. It's kind of tough there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like that you brought up the Jonathan Taylor thing, because I think you have to do your due diligence. If you're the Colts, if you're in the organization, you just had a 7-game stretch of meltdown where you missed the playoffs after starting 8-2. I believe they said it was like the first team in history to do something like this. And this massive collapse is like, obviously you got to look into some kind of changes. I said at the beginning of this podcast, I don't think you need to blow the whole thing up. I think that's a dramatic and emotional response to the season, and emotional responses are often the wrong response. And so I don't think that you need to do that, but I think you wouldn't be doing your due diligence if you're not picking up the phone at least. So I would field the offers for JT, but it would take a whole lot for me to, hey, yeah, let's go through with this deal.
That's fair. All right, I do have to head out. I am looking forward to hearing your guys' off-season plans when this is uploaded to YouTube, wherever it may be. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really
I
appreciate it.
appreciate your time, Ben, man. We love you, man. Have a good day.
Of course, love you guys
See you,
too.
man.
Thank you.
All right, man.
All
Take
right.
care.
So let's move on to who's more excited to do their off-season plan. By show of face, show me facial expression.
Go,
Who's more
Jesse.
excited?
You haven't spoken in a minute. So
Yeah,
Jesse,
let me get
Okay.
Jesse on the main screen, dog. Come on, talk to me, Jesse. What's up?
So I'm re-signing Alec Pierce. I'm re-signing Daniel Jones.
How much?
Daniel Jones,
We gotta talk numbers. Talk
So-
money.
So Daniel Jones, I'm giving 3 years, $50 million. But the first year, I'm making that pure bonus, and then I'm doing a team option after year 2, just in case
Okay.
it doesn't work out.
How does that work?
Pierce,
The team
I'm giving
bonus.
him-
So team bonus, does that not count towards the salary cap, or?
No, so I'm actually going to go into that with
Okay.
with my plans for Pittman. I would make that bonuses, because if he's not going to play for half the season, do bonuses with him, like you get on the field for half the season, you get like some.
Oh, like roster bonuses. I'm thinking signing bonus.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah. And so with Pierce, I'm doing 4 years. I'd say probably $32 million
A year?
with him. Yeah, a year. Well, maybe a little lower, maybe 28.
Okay.
And obviously, yeah, I'll do that with him. Now Pittman,
That's a
what
high
I'm going to
number.
do, I'm going to take his hit. I'm making that into a roster bonus. So if he's on the roster by June 1st, all of that's not going to go against the cap, because that's what the Chiefs are going to do with Patrick Mahomes and that $70 million cap hit.
Okay.
So I'm taking his cap hit and I'm converting that into a roster bonus.
Okay.
So that way you're able to re-sign Pierce, able to re-sign DJ, and then I'm letting Quiddy and Evercom walk. They haven't really. I mean, Latu had better production, and he's on a rookie contract.
Sure.
I'm going to actually piggyback off what Ben said. I'm going to go get somebody like Joey Bosa. I'm going to shoot for Trey Hendrickson, because he's going to be hungry. He's going to want that bigger deal.
He's gonna take a fat contract. Whoever gets Trey Hendrickson, it's gonna be a fat boy contract.
Yeah. So I'm bringing him on a prove-it deal, and then all if Lou Anarumo stays. I'm bringing him on a prove-it deal.
Bosa, you're talking about.
with Bosa and Hendrickson if you can't get Bosa. I'm shooting for Hendrickson.
I don't know if you get
and the
Hendrickson on a
reason-
prove-it deal. I don't see the world like. I mean, that'd be tough because there's definitely gonna be teams that are gonna offer him a long-term contract. I don't see why he would take a prove-it deal with Indy over a long-term contract anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I say a prove-it deal is because he's going to have Lou. Now, this is all hinging on if Lou stays.
Sure.
If you're not going to get Hendrickson, I would get Joey. If he's not going to want to play for the Niners and play with his brother, I've been thinking about that, and I kind of doubt that's going to happen. So I would bring in Joey because I think he's going to fit this defense a lot better, and he's going to be him and Lott. I think can tear some things up. I'm not going to resign. There's a whole bunch of players. I'm letting Braden Smith walk.
Yeah.
His play in the last 3 years has regressed like crazy.
I don't know if it's regressed, but he's definitely not been available as much.
Yeah, and I've given the guy grace because him and Ryan Kelly went through a lot the last few years, so I've given them grace.
I think Braden Smith finds success wherever he goes, dude. I still think he's got a lot in the tank. He's a really, really good right tackle, man. I don't see as big a regression as some people have mentioned about Braden Smith. I think he's done a very, very good. Like, he's more than just a serviceable right tackle. Like, he's still a good right tackle to have on your team. But I think I agree with you about letting him walk because I like Jalen Travis too, and just cheaper contract at that point.
Yeah, and Braden's going to be expensive. He's going to be so expensive for, I don't want to say mediocre play, but there's times where he looks really good, and there's other times you're like, what the hell are you doing? Who else? I'm going to look for somebody to trade for Zaire because there's going to be somebody out there who's going to want him. And
I can't imagine anyone would trade for Zaire.
I mean, even just a backup. But with Zaire, I wouldn't trade him unless I can absolutely get somebody. I would draft a linebacker in the later rounds to kind of compete with him because he'll probably end up winning the starting job. But I would definitely show there's competition there. I would try to trade for something for Richardson. I don't think he's going to play anymore for the Colts. I think that eye is just it's a lot worse.
That eye's going to hurt his value a lot. It might be hard to find a trade partner for him. I don't think his cap hit is too crazy though for people looking at that. It's like what, 10 million for a quarterback. Like that's not bad at all. So I think that, and then if we trade him, I think that we would still eat like half of that. So the team that we trade him to would only take like $5 million on the books for him. Yeah, I don't know if he's worth a trade because he's a backup quarterback, but that eye thing, that's gonna be tough to convince people to want to take anything for him for that.
Well, and I think he wants out. I think he's gonna want out, especially if now with how Riley Leonard played Sunday. If he's going into the season QB2 after. I think he's going to want out because whenever Daniel Jones is named the starter, there was that report came out from his agent that they don't trust the team as much. So I think he wants out. I think he's going to get out one way or another and try to be a starter somewhere else. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's probably out of the league after probably next year.
Out of the league. Man, it's ruthless. Have some faith in my dog, man. Have some faith in my dog.
Well, it's the eye thing. That eye thing is
worrisome. No, you're not wrong. The eye thing is definitely worrisome.
And then the fact that he regressed last year, and then he hadn't really in preseason. He didn't really show anything.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't show that he'll get injured again. In the preseason, with the pinky.
And then he had that freak accident against Arizona an hour before the game started. So I think if we don't trade him, I think he's gonna want out. I think he's gonna be want out. I don't think he's gonna want to be QB3 behind Riley Leonard. I think will either ask for his release or he's gonna go somewhere that a team can take a chance on, like. I don't know, maybe I know he's probably shooting for LA. I kind of doubt that's going to happen. I could see maybe Philly taking him on. I could see maybe New Orleans down there with those guys.
Tyler Shug.
Possibly Atlanta. because you got a 26-year-old quarterback with the needs of a 50-year-old man down there. Then you have a
50-year-old
almost
man.
40-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have an almost 40-year-old man as
Yeah.
your backup.
Yep.
So Atlanta would probably be one.
Interesting.
And all the free agents we have, I'm bringing back Cross. I liked him. He's going to be a little pricey. So in a perfect world, I would love to bring him back, but I kind of doubt it's going to happen.
For who?
I think he has one more year.
Yeah.
For who?
And then for Nick,
Doolin.
Oh, Ashton Doolin?
and then Ashton Dillon would be another one. I would like to
He has
have
one
him
more
back.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Ashton
then,
Doolin's already on the books for next year.
Yeah. And then I'm bringing back Jermaine Pratt. He's a good veteran leadership. He knows loose defense like the back of his hand. And really, I think that's about the only free agents I think that will keep. Like I said, bring in a good pass rusher. And he's not even he's Joey Bosa is weird because he's almost a non-factor in Buffalo, but just what he brings to the team alone, I think he could thrive in this Lou Anarumo defense.
Yeah.
It's similar.
Okay.
It's,
And I don't think he'd be that
it's similar
expensive to
build.
get either. He wouldn't be too expensive to get.
No,
He's
no.
back
I
end of his
think as a
he's back
team-
end of his career. It's over for him right there. He'd be a cheaper contract. I actually have a list of guys that I didn't put him on the list. Mostly because there's other guys that I feel like would be similar contractually, like how much you would have to sign from. But there's definitely guys that in that same sphere that I was very interested in. That would kind of be a similar contract as Joey Bosa to bring into the Colts. But so essentially you're going Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce, Nick Cross, you're signing Joey Bosa, you are Pittman's gonna be there, but only if Pittman's gonna be there on a roster bonus if he's there, so it's not as much of a cap hit. But are you still looking maybe to field an offer for him prior to that, or?
I would field an offer. I would field an offer for Pittman. I'd field an offer for him. I would, and I hate saying this because I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. I would take offer. I would listen to offers for Jonathan Taylor, and I almost listen to offers for Quentin Nelson.
Oof.
I'm not trading Quentin Nelson.
No, I get you. I did mention that you have to do your due diligence. Everybody can be. You can listen to deals for anybody. And
I'm listening to offers for DeForest Buckner, and I might actually make that trade. But with DeForest Buckner, I think I would trade him for a second that can become a first if he plays like 75% of his snaps. Kind of like how that Carson Wentz deal was.
Sure. That would be if they didn't agree to that caveat. Would you still do it?
No, I'd keep him. I mean, I would rather have a DeForest Buckner who's going to play half the season than a DeForest Buckner who's going to go somewhere else and absolutely ball out. Because that's the thing. I agree with you on those lotteries. Like, you know what you have with DeForest Buckner, but you don't know what you're going to have with, say, when the Niners traded him for Javon Kinlaw. Like Kinlaw.
Yeah, but I think the difference here though is that we know what we have with DeForest Buckner, and he is a really good player. I think it's easier for us to replace DeForest Buckner than it would be for us to replace Jonathan Taylor. So when I brought that up, I don't know if I would trade him for a second round pick. I think it would need more draft picks for that. It's hard for me to ever just agree to a really, really good starter for one draft pick, regardless of where that draft pick is. First, second, third, fourth, doesn't really matter. Unless, of course, you're getting a very high first round pick and you have a specific guy that you're going after, then that enhances the value of that draft pick a little more. But outside of that, one draft pick to me does not, it don't move me. It doesn't really move me.
Yeah. Well, and it's going to be hard to get more out of Buckner because Niners only got one first rounder out of him in that trade. So,
and that was when he was really peaking too.
That was at his peak too.
Yeah, the interior defensive line doesn't get too much love like that. Doesn't get too much trade value.
Yeah. Well, and with JT is weird because I'm kind of on the fence with him because he's got he becomes a free agent next season.
Next season,
correct? Do you re-sign him? Yeah. Do you re-sign him or do you get something out of him?
I hear that, and that's why I would field the offers. But just because there's a reality where after next season you don't re-sign him doesn't mean you jump on anything. And so
Yeah.
I would still take that next year because again, like I said before, the Colts are close. It's not like we're far from being able to compete for a Super Bowl. We're close. We
Yeah.
have a lot of really, really good pieces around us. So I wouldn't get desperate with the plays. I wouldn't get desperate with the offseason where I'm accepting the offer because it's there,
Yeah.
So that's
think-
where I'm kind of off on that one. But again, with DeForest Buckner, I feel like it's a little different because number one, the injuries. We don't really know how he's going to be
Yeah.
moving forward. Obviously, sat out for the rest of the season, and now he's and with a back neck, it's tricky. So there's some things that give you a little pause when it comes to DeForest Buckner. And on top of that, even with him being at his best, I don't think it's moved our defense to a level
Yeah.
where I feel like we'll go nowhere without him. So
And-
to me,
Yeah.
he's a little bit more replaceable, and I'd be a little. I think the price for him would be much lower in my mind. The price for him would be lower than the price for Jonathan Taylor. I would be intrigued for less than it would take with Jonathan Taylor.
And I think the biggest thing this off season is to find some depth, because when those injuries hit, I mean they hit bad.
We got hit with the injury bug pretty good. I think the problem with our injuries was dude, it's the same position. We were really depleted at cornerback. And then, obviously losing a quarterback is the worst injury you can have. So it wasn't really a plethora of quarterbacks that got injured, which we did. We had AR get injured. We had Daniel Jones get injured. Riley Leonard got hurt for a second there. We had our injuries at quarterback too. And then obviously DeForest Buckner going down just generally sucks. But there wasn't really any other defensive tackles that were getting hurt. Yeah, it was really just because of the place. We had depth at cornerback, but all of that depth got injured because you go from Mooney Ward getting hurt, then you then you lose Kenny Moore, then you lose Mike Hilton, who's his replacement, then you lose Chris Lamont, who is his replacement, then you lose Sauce Gardner, who he brought in to team up with Mooney Ward, then you lose Mooney Ward again, and it's the injury bug at the cornerback room was unreal for us. The depth there, I think, is very good. It just hopefully that never happens again. But I get it.
It amazes me how well the corners played, without Kenny, without Jalen, without Mooney, for a while there. I mean, for a while,
It amazes
we
you?
were starting five, fifth string corners.
We were surviving. I'll give you that. We were surviving. I mean, I think it goes back to what we were talking about with the offense being one of the best offenses. And I mentioned this in the Discord when we were talking about we don't need a generational defense on this team because our offense is so good. We don't really need a generational defense. We just need a defense that can bend, don't break. And I think that they did a decent job of that. The cornerback specifically, I couldn't stand watching our corners, dude. Xavier Howard was awful. Jalen Jones had maybe one good performance this year. Mekhi Blackman had a few good moments, but overall just doesn't feel like a starter-worthy player. Although I would say I would like to keep Mekhi Blackman as a backup in the event that we get hit with the injury bug again, because he might have been the only guy that looked serviceable. Cameron Mitchell was Jonathan Edwards was awful. It's tough. Chris Lamont looked good, and we also get Wally back off of his ACL or Achilles injury. We'll get him back next year. So ACL. So we'll get him back next year, and hopefully he'll be looking good. I know Lam is excited for Wally. He talks about him all the time. So we'll see how that goes. I think the depth at the cornerback position is pretty good. We have good rotational players on our line, but it feels like it sucks because we don't have any needle movers on the edge.
Yeah.
Latu doesn't really move the needle much for us. Obviously, we know Kwity Paye doesn't. Ebukam does a little bit, but the injury history is what gives you pause there. Tyquan Lewis is obviously he's that $2 million rotational guy that comes in, might get a sack every 7 games or so for 6 games, whatever it is. So I think we have good depth there, but we really I don't think the problem for us is depth necessarily. I don't know if I think I can agree with the depth problem. I think we have plenty of depth. Um, I think we just got like it's just there's not enough depth in the world that can prepare you for the way the injuries went down this year. When you have
Yeah.
4, 5 cornerbacks getting injured all at the same time, there's not enough depth that you can do to like prepare for that. What are you gonna do? Spend 60% of your salary cap on corners? Like you just can't do that. So
Yeah.
that
No,
part's
that's not
unfortunate.
gonna
But
happen.
outside of that, I didn't think that depth was too much of an issue for us. Yeah, I wouldn't say too much there.
Yeah.
But I get it, man. Listen, I think I like the plan. I think generally so far from you and Ben, what it sounds like to me is 90% of this is running it back. And we just need a couple
Yeah.
more pieces, which I think is the common sentiment amongst people that aren't emotionally charged talking about the Colts. Obviously, the emotionally charged people cut everyone and get rid of everything, and like everybody's gone, and
No.
all this, and that's just an emotional response, and I don't think it's the right one. I think
No,
it's.
you've
I
loved
like
the
the
team.
approach that I like the approach that you guys came to this with. I do like the approach. I think it's, and then honestly, I think it's a very realistic approach considering the fact that we've never really had an uber aggressive offseason. That may
Yeah.
change, with a little bit of the language Carly Ursay Gordon had in her presser, where she was saying, the urgency is higher than it's ever been. So it could change a little bit, but she might have hinted at that, but we don't know. We'll have to see for those. But for the most part, I think the most realistic thing is we're probably going to land a few free agents, maybe not any big splash free agents, a few free agents, re-sign a couple players, and we'll build through the rest of it through the draft. If that's the case,
Yeah.
just know Reddit is going to be in an uproar asking for Chris Ballard's head. That's just what's
Dude,
going to
Reddit's
happen.
in an uproar if you say Daniel Jones is, or if you say that if Reddit was in an uproar for a minute if you said Daniel Jones is better than Anthony Richardson, because those posts in the summer, man, that was wild.
But I kind of understand that because like a lot of people have a lot of hype for Anthony Richardson just because he has a lot of that raw talent. So I understood that all the way in the preseason, the summer, and everything. It makes sense in the summer because we didn't really know. Like, dude, if you look at what Daniel Jones was doing, and it showed with how everyone kind of spoke about the team going in before the season started was no one really had faith in Daniel Jones, and he didn't really give us much reason to have faith in him. He earned some faith, this year. He definitely earned some, but it was hard to see that prior to the season. Like we have a whole history of him in New York. Granted, franchise is always in shambles. Both New York Jets and Giants are always in shambles. So like, granted, that could be the cause, but like you're assuming that's why he was bad. It's a hard assumption to make. Like you're watching his career in New York, and he obviously doesn't get the job in Minnesota. There's a lot of signs that told us, this might be a bad move. Clearly worked out. We didn't know what we were talking about, but before that's with hindsight. In the moment, I kind of understood the people's stance and wanting to see more Anthony Richardson.
I get it.
So now we got those two out of the way. Lam, the long-awaited offseason plan of Lam. Guys, I'm going to give you guys a heads up here, okay? I'm going to give y'all a heads up. People are getting fired. People are getting cut. People are getting shipped, all right? This guy, he's cutthroat. He don't play around about his team. He demands Super Bowl or success, or you're gone. Lam, come on, man. Talk to me, man. How we doing this? How we doing this?
Hey, I'm gonna be that dramatic, but we can understand it. So, yeah, obviously the priority is Daniel Jones because I don't know if y'all seen the post about Alec Pierce. He said if Daniel Jones is
Yes, I
back,
did see
then he's
this.
gonna want to come back. So we need to get a quarterback first, and then we can get Alec Pierce. So I'll say 1 year,
I think he
20
said it
million.
more like as a thing. Like he's like, yeah, Daniel Jones coming back. Like it's a big thing for me. Like I don't think if we don't bring Daniel Jones back, he leaves automatically. Like I don't think that's the message he was necessarily conveying. But yeah, no, I do hear what you're saying though. It's obviously something that's on his mind is who's going to be throwing him the football. So definitely got to be cognizant of that. So we're bringing back Daniel Jones, and then you start talking about Alec Pierce. My bad. Go ahead.
I'm still in Daniel Jones. I say
Okay.
1 year, 20 million because he is coming off Achilles injury. So you want to see how he does this season. And it'll be easier to to have a plan for the future. If he was on a 3-year deal and he was horrible this season or looked nothing like he did last year, then you just be like, oh damn,
Well,
like we're stuck on Daniel Jones. Or we can do a 2-year second year team option. I don't know if we
You
could
can
do
always
that
front.
in
You can
2 years.
always front load the deal, so that way you can have an out after the first or second year, so you know that you can leave. If you front load it with more
Mhm.
guarantees up front, obviously it hits your salary a little bit more in the beginning, but it gives you that flexibility for the next seasons. My question that I wanted to ask you though, if Daniel Jones' agent comes up to me like, "Hey, we're not accepting anything less than 3 years," um, and you're saying, are you down to let him walk? You just said it yourself that this is also impacting whether Alec Pierce stays too. So now we're at tough decisions here. Let's get
That's true.
cutthroat.
That's true. That's true. Nah, yeah. I mean, there's no other option out there.
So you're
There
giving him
is.
the
I mean,
3 years. If they
Willis, but
demanded it, you're giving him the three
yeah,
years.
but not.
Makes sense.
Yeah, about
I
I'll
think
say
it's safe.
$25 million max, because
25
he
million
just
max. I think you can't do
yeah, yeah.
25 million max. I think that if you're gonna give him a contract, and again, this is we'll see what happens, and I could be completely wrong and ignorant to this. I think that the average number for him will be above 30 a year, and but again, I think that to offset that, you front load the contract a little more, so that first year is where like your guaranteed salary is at, and that way the next years, if anything, you can move on and cut him with no dead cap or little dead cap at least. Um, just because
Okay.
that's probably what it's going to take to have him. Because there's teams around the league, regardless of whether or not he tore his Achilles or not, that saw Daniel Jones and they are intrigued. And I think
Hmm.
they'd be willing to do that. Because again, as long as you give yourself the out in the second or third year, the ability to move on, it's effectively a prove it deal. You know, albeit an expensive prove it deal, but what quarterback doesn't come at a cost? I think they'll be willing to pay that, especially if it's a team that needs a quarterback. Um, so I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see the way this all goes down. I think that we're more than likely gonna sign him anyway, and I think that it's good. But I think it's going to end up being somewhere in that range of yeah, dude. It's gonna be what 3 years. You're talking average salary of 30 to 35 million a year. Most of it being guaranteed up front, so you get a pretty big cap hit up front. That's how I see it happening. That's how I see it going down, at least.
Yeah, 3 year, 90 million, so 30, million a year. So yeah, we got to get that
Yeah.
quarterback,
But go ahead and go off the
especially that.
assumption. You can continue with the going off the assumption that he signs your 1 year, $20 million prove it deal. So you can continue with your
Okay.
offseason plan with that as the assumption. I just
Yeah.
wanted to see if you would be willing to flex that more
Yeah,
if
I
that was a
would. I
demand.
would.
All right.
Yeah, I would for sure. But yeah, realistically, it's gonna be 3 years or 2 years. But
Sure.
what I would do is 1 year, 20 million, because
Hmm.
that Achilles injury, and he only played what, 12 games? It was 12 games or
Yes, I
11
believe
games,
12
11 or
games.
12 games.
Hmm.
So it is an upgrade from what he was making, 13 million last year's.
Hmm.
So Alec Pierce, I'll say 3 years. Say 3 years. I don't know if 25 million is too much. Like, I was gonna say 20 million a
I
year,
mean, dude,
because
you got to think like this is the market value for him. He's definitely making over 20 million a year average salary. Now
yeah,
maybe that gets
yeah,
back. Here's the good thing about Alec Pierce is he's young and that can be backloaded, and I think you have a decent enough confidence in him to where I think you can feel okay backloading contract. A very similar way that they did with Michael Pittman Jr., right? Where the biggest cap hit that he's had is coming up next year, which is going to be the 29 million that he's going to take next year. I think you can find a way where you're going to backload the contract similar to that and have that hit kind of hit you later down the road, but you're still going to be able to offer him that average salary of that 25 million. He's probably going to get somewhere in the same neighborhood as Michael Pittman Jr., to be honest. Like that's at least that's what it feels like. And anything that like if we get him on something less than 20 million a year somehow, some way, we make that happen. I think that it's fair to say that everybody needs to lay off Chris Ballard for at least like a month or two. Like no Chris Ballard slandered for at least a month or two. Like, can we get a break? Like if he gets us Alec Pierce for 18 mil a year, can we get a break, guys? Like we don't have to ask for his head every day. You know, he did a good thing. When he does a good thing, let's give him a little grace. It's a long offseason. We can spare 2 months of our offseason not calling for his head.
yeah. I agree for sure. I mean, I think teams are gonna be desperate out there. So like the Bills, because they need a wide receiver really bad. I think the Chiefs need a wide receiver as well. So I think realistically, it's going to be 3 year, 25 million. You don't want to give him a 4 year contract because he's going to be 29 years old by the time his contract is up. So we don't know if he's going to be the same player. We don't know. We don't know if he's going to hit that Michael Pittman type of role. Later in his 20s.
Sure, you're still
So
taking a
3 years,
gamble though.
25.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and I would trade Michael Pittman. Unfortunately, I love Michael Pittman. He's a warrior. He plays hard, but I noticed,
It's a
as the
cap
season started
casualty.
getting harder.
Cap
Yeah,
casualty,
it's
man.
just the money. It's just the
29 mil,
business
dude.
of. Yeah, it's business. That's it. It's nothing personal. It's
Oh, for
nothing
sure.
like, oh,
I
he's a
get
bum.
that.
He's not a bum at all. He's a good receiver. Uh,
Which is why
out of
trade,
pure
not
just
cut. Yeah, this is why you trade,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
cut kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not gonna trade on Taylor. I will keep him just because Shane and Ballard are coming back and the
hmm
offense was working. You know,
hmm
through Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones. So those two guys have to be there.
Guys,
So I'm not gonna trade.
just for clarity, no
Yeah.
one has said we're trading Jonathan Taylor yet. All right, just because the comments are
Yeah,
gonna
no, I
get
know, I
us,
know.
we are
No, no.
entertaining
The
the
two other guys.
idea
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it. That's all.
Yeah,
You know, I don't want y'all killing. I mean, Lam is the one that said he wouldn't trade him, but I don't want y'all killing my dog Ben or Jesse or
no, no,
you guys
no.
could kill me because you do it anyway. But we're just entertaining it. You know, just having
Yeah, no, no.
conversations, picking up the phone. That's all. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah,
That was more
I
for the people
would.
that are inevitably going to comment on these clips that we take that are going to call us all idiots for talking about trading Jonathan Taylor. I'm just getting ourselves prepared for that life.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and then for the defense, that's the part when I'm talking about the cutthroat thing and
Here it
change it
is.
up a little bit because I'm tired of the defense
I
just
warned y'all.
collapsing at the end of the run. It's ridiculous, bro. Even when they play good, and then the last drive they just collapse. It's just the mentality, or something is off with that defense.
You talking about the
So
Seattle game?
unfortunately, yeah,
Yeah.
they played really, really well. It's hard to blame them at the same time. It's just football is a cutthroat sport, in my opinion. It's like a quarterback. Let's say let's say Daniel Jones threw 400 yards. Every drive he delivered, and the last drive, he didn't deliver. Guess who's gonna get the blame? Like Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't deserve it, it's just the
I
nature of
don't agree with
football.
that. I think if you're a quarterback, you deserve
Bomb.
it. You
Yeah,
know what it is.
bomb.
Listen, as a quarterback, you're the guy that's going to get paid all the money. You're the guy that's going to get all the glory. And so at the same time, you're going to have to accept those blames. And I
Yeah,
think that's fair. It's a fair trade-off. Like that's just the role. That's the job, dude. It's not forever. That's why being quarterback is so hard because it's not just about being able to throw the football and read the defense. It's like your responsibility is winning football games. And that's why you get paid the money you get paid. And that's why you get all the MVP trophies and the accolades and the TV time and the everything the world has gifted to you as a quarterback. It's you get compensated fairly for what the responsibility of it is. That's just always been my take. And that's why I was always hard on quarterbacks. And a lot of people hate that about me. But that's just where I stand when it comes to a quarterback. That's the job. And that's why guys can look decent and still not cut it. And they're still going to get a whole lot of crap for it. And that's why, I was always hard on Daniel Jones, who played very well, but sometimes it wasn't good enough. And a lot of times it wasn't good enough. This collapse happened mostly with him playing quarterback. It was really just the last 4 games that he missed. We went on a 7-game losing streak. We lost 8 of our last 9 games, I think it was. And so... or 7 of our last 8, whatever it was. Or no, I think it was 8 of our last 9. Yeah, 8 of our last 9 games we lost. And even in the one game that we won in that stretch, Daniel Jones didn't look that good. Jonathan Taylor carried us through overtime to beat the Falcons in Germany. Like, it wasn't a great showing. And sure, after the Falcons game, he had the fibula injury and everything, and that could be it. But if you suit up, you lose the right to have an excuse as to why you didn't play good. If you're too hurt to play good, you're too hurt to play, period. And so that's how I've always looked at it, and that's why I'm always going to be okay with if you want to point the finger at the quarterback after a loss, point away. I'm never going to be like, it wasn't his fault. Like, you got it. You're right. And I loved Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard, and I don't get to derail the conversation a little bit, but if y'all heard Riley's press conference after when he said he started to immediate ownership, like, that just wasn't good enough. I gotta be better. And I'm like, dude, it's a week 18 game. You played better than most people expected, and your response is to go up like, I didn't do good enough, and I have to be better so we can win football games. I'm like, that's my guy. I was screaming, "That's my quarterback" a lot on Sunday. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But yeah, to the defense, yeah, they will have games where they play pretty well, but it's just not enough. So we need that pass rusher that just close the games.
So who's your
Not like a
guy?
Miles Garrett or anything, but like I'll take a Joey Bosa, like 1 year, because he had a 1 year contract from
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, only
Yep.
$13 million, and I was screaming for Ballard to get him last
Mm-hmm.
year.
There's a lot of guys
We
like
can,
that
yeah,
that
we
had
can
that.
get it for the same price just for 1 year. 1 year, and then unfortunately number 44.
Your favorite player?
Nothing
Your
against
your,
him.
your
He's
favorite
a,
player? He's talking about his favorite player again, dude. I told you guys he loves Zaire Franklin, dude. He's a big fan.
his character. It's not. I don't hate his character. It's play. It just got worse every year. I don't know how he made the Pro Bowl last year. It just felt like
He's a
I
good
know he had a couple
linebacker.
interceptions.
He's a good linebacker, dude.
Like yeah, I don't know. This year was really rough for him. I think it's a scheme. He just doesn't fit with the scheme. He fit really well with Gus Bradley, so I think the scheme it just doesn't work for him. I'm assuming that Lou's going to be back, so either we cut him and then draft a linebacker, keep Pratt. So I'll keep Pratt, and then have the new linebacker, the young linebacker, and Carlisle. Just um, fight for that starting role because Carlisle was supposed to be the will, but he's just injury prone as well. So I want to, fully trust him. And then Kenny Moore, I think we
So wait, so
saved
so
60.
stick with the linebackers for a second. So you said you're cutting Zaire Franklin.
Yes,
You're bringing back Jermaine Pratt.
yes,
Okay,
and
and then Carlisle
have
is gonna
Jermaine
start with
Pratt
him.
as well.
So your linebackers going into next year will be Carlisle, Jalen Carlisle, and Jermaine Pratt.
And then draft a
Draft and
linebacker,
draft a young guy.
probably a
Okay,
second. So I have to
okay,
look. Yeah, I have to look in the.
okay.
I'm gonna take a look at the free agency. So good thing I'm not GM. I'm not just gonna say cut
Yeah.
him and then with no replacement. So,
Ah, technically you just
um,
did. I'm
yeah,
just messing around. I
technically, but
know.
because I know I ain't gonna do anything. I'm
I
just sticking
got
to
you.
my
No, I'm
old
messing
rules right
around.
now.
I'm messing around. I
So,
hear you. No, there's some good
um,
linebacker free agents. I'll go over those in a second here. I just wanted to make sure that I was hearing that right. That's the linebacking crew that you're going with
yeah,
heading into the year. Go ahead.
yeah. So we just need that vet in that linebacker room. I want to feel comfortable.
Hmm.
You know, not bringing back Pratt and Cuddy Zaire and just have Carlisle's out there in the island. Because we don't know who he is yet. He did look good last year, a couple games. Like he's really good in coverage, and then he just got hurt. I think it was
Yeah.
a Dolphins game last year. Um, so I'm gonna move on to the nickel position, and Kenny Moore. He's not bad. It's just he's a
One of the better
liability in
nickel corners.
coverage. Yeah, he's just getting slower. He's just getting older. He's getting slower. I think he doesn't fit with the scheme as well. Because Lou has these guys in man coverage a lot, and he cannot keep up with anyone, even the tight end. Like he just gets beat a lot. I don't know. I don't know if it's Achilles injury. He did have that Achilles injury. Um, so I was thinking, I don't know if I should fully bank on Wally coming off of ACL because that is his replacement. So I was thinking maybe Hilton, but I don't know if that's a downgrade. Like, what's the point of downgrading?
Mike
Because
Hilton's a
Hilton looked pretty
downgrade, you
good.
said?
Hilton. What's his name? Hilton from
Mike Hilton.
Mike
Yeah.
Hilton. Because he
Yeah.
looked pretty good when he was healthy. Like for Rams, I went to the Rams game. I was watching him. He looked pretty good. He didn't look
Hmm.
lost. It was basically the same thing as Kenny Moore, but I didn't see him get beat a
How
lot.
much stock do you put into like PFF rankings? Out of
Not
curiosity.
a lot. Not a lot. I know Zaire Franklin was really bad. Besides last game, he had an 80. He had an 80 coverage grade last game.
No,
I was surprised.
Zaire Franklin's PFF is horrendous. It's all red and orange.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm
he
not a
had a
big
really
fan
bad
of
year. But I
PFF.
was bringing it up because Kenny Moore actually had like a total defensive grade of 68.1, which isn't bad at all. 84.4 run defensive grade, 63.8 coverage grade. And let me just bring this over here so I could
You know the
see.
man. You know the man coverage grade. I know zone. He's pretty good because he doesn't have to chase a lot. But when it comes to man, it was 37 or something. It's either him across or Zaire in the middle of the field
He
get
gave
beat,
up about
bro.
an 88.7 quarterback rating. He was targeted 65 times. He gave up 42 catches, 530 yards. The longest catch he gave up was 47 yards. He gave up 1 touchdown, and he had an interception. So
He was
overall, though, and the slot cornerback is definitely one of the hardest positions in the NFL.
It is.
It's
It
easy to get
is.
targeted a lot. I for one, I look at this. I don't see amazing. I don't see awful. I see a guy that's somewhat consistent and still a good enough player in the league. Are you talking about with Kenny? Would you be cutting him?
I would, to be honest, because we need the defense just needs to get, we need to shift a little bit because
Kenny
it's the
Moore
same
comes
thing
with
every.
a $6 million dead cap and $7 million in savings. So you would save $7 million essentially by cutting him.
Yeah, and
And who's
I
going to
think he
replace
will
him?
understand. He will understand because I remember a few years ago. I don't know if Jesse remember. You remember the 22 season? At the end, he was just checked out. I don't know if he ever got back. I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's back, dude. Ever
Yeah.
since he got cooked by what's his name from the Raiders, Hunter Renfro in
Oh,
2021 in that
yeah.
Jags game. Ever since then, he's never
I
been
ain't
the
gonna lie.
same.
I ain't
Like
gonna
he's
lie.
never been the same, bro.
Getting cooked by Hunter Renfro is like not a bad thing. Like it's not a damning
It's
thing at all.
not.
Hunter Renfro is like that. Like
Yeah,
with
yeah,
his routes,
yeah.
he was like that. He's kind of like Josh
Yeah,
Downs. Like dude, is just always
Yeah.
creating
and
separation.
then the following season, the 22 season, he was bad that year too. The first
Mhm.
game, I think it's Houston and Jacksonville, we got shut out. He looked horrible. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. I don't know if it's. I think the scheme from Gus Bradley really, like, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or he just because I know he didn't like the Gus scheme, and I was so high when we got Lou. I was like, oh shit, Kenny's gonna be back. He's gonna be blitzing a lot. Oh my goodness! And in the blitzing department, he was good. Run defense, good. Tackling, good. It's just the coverage, and you have to cover. Even Jesse said it, you have to cover. Like it's a passing league. Like like I feel like run defense doesn't really matter if you're gonna give up 39 every time. That's another issue. Like with this defense, third down defense was. I think 26. It was horrible. We can't get off the field. That's why the defense gets drained so easily. And Yeah, I'm not gonna be mad if we keep Kenny. It's 50-50. Like if
He's
we
32
move
now. He
on,
turned 32 on New Year's. On New Year's Day.
really?
Yep, turned 32 on New Year's Day.
How old is Mike Hilton? How old is he?
That I don't have the
He's
answer to right now.
6.
He's the same age as Kenny, I think. I'm thinking, can he be worse? Like, and he fits like
I like Chris
perfectly with the
Lamons.
system.
I like to have Chris Lamons at slot. I thought he did a really good job at slot when both
He
Mike
did
Hill
pretty good.
and
He
Kenny
got
Moore
hurt
went there.
though,
He was
right?
yeah,
He
he
got
got
hurt.
hurt. He's the only one on the roster like of the backups that I was like, I think he could be a very serviceable starter like now. Like if we
Thank you
had
for
to have him
bringing
for the
him
rest
up.
of the year, I wouldn't have been upset.
Thank you for bringing him up because I was thinking maybe him and Wally can compete for that.
Yeah, Chris Lamons is
Sorry,
good.
you don't want to just
Oh,
throw Wally.
but
You don't want to
wait,
give it.
let me clarify. I do not like your decision here. I am not on board. Kenny Moore stays. I don't hold on, let me put the camera on me. Hey guys, Kenny Moore, he stays. Don't get
I
me
think that's more
twisted.
realistic.
I
I think
love me
that's
some
more
Kenny
realistic
Moore.
because I think that's more realistic to be honest, because
Mm-hmm.
Chris Ballard's coming back. But we'll
He's
see.
still a
Because
dog. He's still got
oh
that
yeah, he's still
dog
a
in him.
dog.
And
He
you
can
only have
tackle and all that.
I
It's
think
just
you only have
coverage.
1 year left on his contract. Like you
He
would be
does.
coming up
That's what
into the
I'm
last year of
saying.
his contract. So I wouldn't want to get rid of it because it's not even like crazy number either. It's what 13 million? Yeah, 13.2 million is his cap hit. It's not even that crazy of a number for a guy of his caliber. Saving the 7 million, I guess I would have to see what you would do with it. But like, here's the one thing about like so far with your plan that I might have some pause with is
Mhm.
I don't see the improvement. Like, I like the Joey Bosa aspect. That could be cool, having Joey Bosa in. I don't like the linebacker thing. I don't like the idea of Pratt and Carlisle being the linebacker core. I think we got worse doing that. I definitely don't. I don't like the idea. I mean, again, I can maybe see us not regressing too bad if Chris Lamons and Wally fight for that nickelback position. But I just personally, I would need to see I would need more from this plan to be fully on board with it. To me, I feel like we did a lot of moves that didn't move the needle, if that makes sense. Like it sounds like a
Yeah,
lot of moves that didn't really move the needle for us.
because I don't know. Like I have to look at the free agency first.
Okay, so
So that's why. Yeah.
I'll give you some linebacker free agents, right, that you could talk about here.
Mhm.
We'll start with the possibility of well actually do you have more for your plan? Or did you pretty much go through what you were doing?
And
All right.
I think that's it because we already got the edge. Joey
All right.
Bosa will definitely be an upgrade over Quiddy Pay, and
So I,
massive upgrade,
I,
massive upgrade.
as the teacher that assigned the homework, didn't fully do the assignment. I didn't lay out an exact plan. I laid out kind of contingent plans based off of what was going to happen. And I did this prior to the announcement that Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard were going to stay here. I did work under the assumption they would stay, so it wasn't a big deal. But I had a contingency in case they were gone, who I would want to replace him, at least at head coach. I don't really know too much about general managers. I kind of worked around that assumption. So there's some plans that I had to completely erase because they're irrelevant since we're not changing coaches. But starting with Daniel Jones. Guys, we're re-signing Daniel Jones. I'm not excited, not mad. 35 million is a lot. And I'll tell you one thing about Daniel. I will be arguably the only Colt fan on the planet that is actually not going to be even remotely upset if we do not re-sign Daniel Jones. I won't be. And I know I'm jumping the gun on Riley Leonard a little bit. I get it. Y'all might need a little more time and stuff, but there's something about the kid that screams superstar to me. And the last time I had this feeling about a player, it was Pat McAfee, believe it or not. It was Pat McAfee. And the last time I had a feeling about the unknown guy that's coming in, and it was funny because my brother used to make fun of me because I was a fan of a punter, and he was like, "You're an idiot." And I'm like, "No, dude, there's something about this guy that screams superstar." And it's to this day, my brother doesn't give me credit for everything, but he'll give me credit for a few takes. And one of those takes was that I saw the superstardom in Pat McAfee before he even took any of it seriously. Like, I was like early in his career when we were still just calling him the boomstick. You know, we saw him hit like a 70-yard punt and started calling him the boomstick. And I'm like, no, this dude is something else. And then I see the celebrations, and then he's doing the onside kicks to himself, and then he's doing comedy shows. Then he goes to WWE. He goes to ESPN route. Like, immediately becomes this huge superstar. There was always something about him. Talent was there. The personality was there. Like, I always feel like I have a good idea of who I feel can be a superstar. And I think Riley Leonard could be a superstar in this football league. I know it's early, and it wasn't really based off of the gameplay I saw against the Texans, but I'll tell you, the gameplay against the Texans made me feel a lot better. All that to say that I still think Daniel Jones does get re-signed, but I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be sad if he doesn't. Alec Pierce, I think, I don't want to call him a must re-sign like everyone else. I love the guy, and I think he absolutely can be our wide receiver one. But we have a wide receiver one. His name is Michael Pittman Jr., and we have not fielded offers or made it a real attempt at trading him yet. And unless we do that, there is absolutely no way we can justify spending over $20 million a year on Alec Pierce. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. So for me, trading Michael Pittman Jr. would become an imperative in order to re-sign Alec Pierce. I'm not investing that much money into my wide receiver core. I just can't justify $40 million in salary cap going to two wide receivers. I just can't. That's actually closer. It'll probably be closer to $50 million because Pittman's on $29 million cap hit going into next year. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about the likes of a $50 million wide receiver 1 and 2. I can't get down with that. So it's either Alec Pierce walks or we trade Michael Pittman. I would prefer Michael Pittman getting traded, but only for I don't want to see him get traded anything less than at least 1 second round and some late rounders. If you get 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever. But I need multiple draft picks at least. I did like the prospects of maybe probably sending him to Baltimore, or there was another team that I had mentioned that I thought was a really good possibility for, the 49ers. The 49ers, I think, would be a really good landing spot for Michael Pittman Jr. They have the quarterback they want. They don't have a certified wide receiver 1 over there. And I don't think they need like the top of the line elite wide receiver 1. I think they could use somebody that can help them create more offense as well. And keep them more consistent offensively. So I think they'd be interested in that as well. And because of the fact that they have a quarterback, I think they'd be more willing to get rid of a little bit more draft capital going into that. I also think that we're gonna let Braden Smith walk. I'm with everybody on that one. Jalen Travis looked very formidable. I'm taking the cheaper contract. I re-signed Braden Smith if he's down to take a similar deal that he took before. Where like I think this past season, what was his cap hit this past season? I think it was a very low number.
It's like 16 million, I think, right? No,
I
like 13
no,
million. I think it took a pay cut. So it was like
I,
13.
It was
he
either 12 or 13.
Braden Smith. I have. Where is it? I have a whole list of our guys here, and I can't see his name for some reason. Let me Control F and Braden. Oh, Braden Smith. Okay, non-active roster. Yeah, it was about 10 million. Braden Smith.
Hmm.
Okay, $10 million cap hit. I am okay with something similar to that, but again, I think we move on. I think Jalen Travis is economically the better player to keep on the roster. Obviously, we don't have to re-sign him; he's already under contract. And I also think that we have a possibility of moving Matt Gonsalves over to right tackle. I loved what I saw from him at right tackle. I thought he was fantastic at right tackle. So there's also something else that you could look at. If you let Braden Smith walk, you could maybe move that. I think Jalen Travis already playing it and has played it for the last 2 games is telling. I think that's the guy that they go with. But you have a little bit of flexibility on that line. You have some players there. I think we re-signed Danny Pinter. I know that's not a big name, not a big splash. People kind of overlook that. Danny Pinter is a really, really good utility player. When you have an offensive line that there's not really a guy behind the front 5. Like, there's no players that I look at in our depth there that's like immediately sticks out to me. So having a guy like Danny Pinter that you can move into really any interior line position is very valuable, because I don't think we have a really good backup guard, center, or either side of the guards. So I would like to keep Danny Pinter, because in the event that any of those guys go down, I can trust Danny Pinter to be able to relieve them for however long they need to. He's a good player there. More importantly, we're letting pretty much everyone else walk. Nick Cross is gone. Ebukam, Quiddy Pay. I said Braden already. All those guys, sorry boys, you're done. It's just not working out. And let's talk about the replacements. Personally, I keep Zaire Franklin on my football team. Why do I keep Zaire Franklin on my football team? Because he costs us like $8 million, dude. And honest to God, not nearly as bad as he had a really bad season, but he's not nearly as bad as his season would suggest. With a new defensive system, him being the captain, his focus being building back the locker room and stuff, could have all impacted this. I don't see him having a worse season next year. However, not that you necessarily have to cut him to do this, but I do like some of these linebacker prospects, and I'm going to read out to you guys. And you guys tell me who you think is the most likely, or who you think would be the favorite. I am going to preface this by saying I don't know if any of these guys are actually likely to even leave the teams that they're on, let alone sign with the Indianapolis Colts. The first name on the list, there's a serious threat of retirement on the table here. Give me Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner. He's one of those guys. I know he's older, but he still fills a very similar role. He's an incredible player. Struggles in coverage, which I know that everyone's going to be like, oh, well, it makes him better then, because Zaire struggles in coverage, so he haven't really improved it. Struggles a little bit in coverage. I don't think it'll be as big of a problem in Indy with as much of the man coverage that we run. I think Bobby Wagner can easily cover a lot of those running backs, and you're going to have Kenny Moore guarding the tight ends a lot. We have plenty of cornerbacks and can run plenty of dime and nickel packages where he's not going to be guarding the fastest guys. And it's still going to come into play at times, but I think the upside of what he brings to, number one, the run defense, which we struggled with at the end of the year, and the overall orchestration of the defense, what he brings, I think is extremely valuable. So I would love to see Bobby Wagner come to Indianapolis. I don't see it happening. Retirement is probably on the table, and maybe he stays in Washington if he doesn't retire. But that was the first name on the list. Probably the best linebacker in free agency. Even at his, what is he, 38 now? Even at the ripe age of 38, I mean, he still had a really good season in Washington. I don't see any reason why you look at him and be like, not a good linebacker. He's still one of those guys. How would you guys feel about? But I heard someone say no. I heard someone say no.
Yeah, this is because of age and
Give me
yeah.
1 year. Give me 1
Might
year.
as well
I
keep
think
might
any
as well
race size
keep
is only
out
1 year
here.
anyway. Give me what?
Well,
Yeah.
All right.
I
Next
think-
name on the list. Demario Davis. Again, retirement is on the table, but he's spoken in interviews where he leans more towards playing. He has to he's going to talk to his wife this offseason and see what they want to say. The Saints have to pay some pretty big contracts out, including guys like Chris Olave. So, and then obviously they got Cameron Jordan, who's a free agent, and they have Demario Davis. They have quite a few players they have to make tough decisions on. So Demario Davis leaves. Hey, Ballard, pick up the phone, baby. Demario Davis, one of them ones. And I think we would do a great deal to our linebacking core with a guy like Demario Davis. And I see Lama shaking his head still. He doesn't like Demario because of the age.
He's older. Yeah.
He's old.
I want something
What's
young.
with you and old people? What do you have against old guys?
No,
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just I'm old.
I'm
nah.
ancient in the NFL world.
Yeah, man. What's wrong with
Nothing
the old
against old
guys?
people at all. I was
No, how
with
old
Philip
is
Rivers,
Demario?
so yeah.
All right. So the next name on this list, I don't know if he's going to be available, but I have a feeling it's more possible than some people would think. But Leo Chenal from the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off a shoulder injury, they sidelined him for the last 4 weeks of the season, so we didn't get to really see him last 4 weeks of the season. Dude, this guy fits all the criteria. He checks all the boxes. Leo Chenal is one of those guys. The problem with him, he'll probably want to be one of the more expensive linebackers on this list. Like Demario Davis and Bobby Wagner, you can get on cheap 1-year deals, veteran deals.
Yeah.
You're not spending top dollar on those guys, which is something that we like to look at. Colts have like the eighth most salary cap space going into offseason, which gives us a great deal of benefit. But because we have to re-sign Daniel Jones, we have Alec Pierce, that is going to dissipate pretty quickly. So it'll be nice to be able to get some high production guys with good valued contracts. Leo Chenal might be on the higher end of that spectrum when it comes to the contract value. How would we feel about Leo Chenal?
It'd be nice if we could afford him. I would. Is he going to be a free agent, or do you think he's going to be cut?
Oh, I believe he's a free agent. I believe he's a free agent. Like he's on contract right now. Like he's under contract negotiations right now. So if they don't decide to re-sign him, I think he becomes a free agent March, whatever free agency opens. And
I'll take the Chiefs. Linebackers have good. The Chiefs have a good linebacking core.
Leo
There's always been a strength in their defensive line.
Boys. I have a name that maybe, I mean, you're probably going to like the name, but not where he plays currently, so you might feel a little But maybe we're stealing him from him, so it might be attractive to you guys. Devin Lloyd from the Jacksonville Jaguars is set up to be a free agent. Now, obviously, the Jags want him back. This is why I said a lot of these guys you're going to hear, and you're like, well, maybe they're not going to be available. I think Devin Lloyd is probably the best name on this list overall.
It is.
It's not going to be cheap. We know it's not going to be cheap. Colts, we would have to free up space, which probably means that Pittman would have to go, and maybe even a guy like Grover or DeForest Buckner would have to go to make it happen.
Yeah.
Would you, if let me ask you guys a hypothetical. Everyone listen, let me ask you a hypothetical. If DeForest Buckner or Grover Stewart had to become a casualty in order to bring in Devin Lloyd, are you on board? I have my answer. I am. I'm on board. Give me Devin Lloyd.
I think I am with DeForest Buckner, just because of the age and injury history.
Yeah.
And with Devin Lloyd, I mean,
Give me Devin Lloyd and Zaire Franklin with Antonio Pierce as our DC after Lou goes to Tennessee. Brother, movie. Someone call Spielberg, dude. I got a script for you, my guy. Let me tell you.
I mean, that'd be good. I like Antonio Pierce. If Lou wants to go to Tennessee, by all means, I'm pretty sure they're gonna hire Matt Nagy for that. But
yeah, but I'm just under the listen. I didn't bring this up on the podcast yet, but this is a good segue to it. My dream coaching change for this offseason is if Lou decides to take a head coach job somewhere else, which I hope he does for his career, not because I don't think he's a good DC and not because I want to see him leave Indianapolis, but because I think it'd be a great step in his career. And I have my sights set on one of my favorite coaches in the world, Antonio Pierce. Well, I'm telling you, man, I was rooting for the Raiders all day, every day. I named my fantasy football team AP's Raiders. Like, that's my guy. Bring me AP. I think you see, if you bring me AP, Zaire Franklin has a career season. He has the best season of his career.
Yeah.
Immediately has the best season of his career. I'll book it right now.
Well,
And Lam is gonna stop talking crazy about my dog. He's gonna
I
show
hope
some
so.
respect.
I want the best for the team. If he proves me wrong, I would love to eat crow.
But Lam, I didn't
I would
hear.
be the
I
first
didn't
one
hear
to
if
eat
you would be
crow.
on board with a Devin Lloyd. If DeForest Buckner or Grover Stewart had to
Yeah,
be a casualty, you had to
yeah.
trade one of those guys away in order to make the space. You're down.
I
All
think it would
right.
help. Yeah, it
All
would help
right.
Zaire a lot.
All
yeah.
right.
You know.
So the last name on the list for linebackers I have, Devin Bush. He has earned some big money in 2026. The Browns, he looked really good with the Browns, and the Browns are in salary cap hell. So it could be a tough spot for them to re-sign him, but he's had a
You're right.
really good season with the Browns as
No,
well. I know Devin
no,
Bush was talked about as a bust for a while, and the Steelers, they dropped him like a bad habit. But let me tell you, he found his footing in Cleveland. And I think he has played some exceptional football. And I think
Is
he'd
he
be
a Mike?
awesome to have there.
Is he a
Um,
Mike or a Will?
that's a good question.
Remind me of Devin Lloyd a little bit.
That's a good question.
I'm
I'd
trying
say no. I'd
to.
say no
I honestly listen.
because
I think that from what I've noticed around the league is that there's a lot of guys that play Mike that can be successful at will and vice versa. And I think when you're a linebacker in the league long enough, you have to create that ability, that flexibility to be able to be relevant in the league. Because you don't have the league doesn't have this laundry list of elite linebackers that are just the best player on their football team type of talent, right? It's
yeah,
not like that. So for you to make yourself valuable at the linebacker position, you got to play Mike, Will, sometimes Sam, whatever you got to do. So I don't know the answer to the question. I don't know if he was playing Mike for the Browns or not. But I didn't ever say I would get rid of our Mike. So go ahead, have fun
yeah.
at will, Devin Bush.
I'm saying no for Devin Bush simply because Miles Garrett is a one-man wrecking crew, and a lot of players have looked good because of Miles Garrett. So I'm saying no on that one.
You said no on Devin Bush?
I'm saying no on Devin Bush. Yeah,
It'll be a little too pricey, you think?
I think so.
I think the
it would
projection
be
the projection is pricey. I think the projection is pricey, which yeah, I can see that, but yeah, we'll see.
yeah.
I want
Well,
one of those linebackers. So that's why I
well,
said
I
my
think
plan is more contingencies. I want one of those
yeah.
linebackers. If you don't bring me one
Well,
of those linebackers, I'll be upset.
and he's more like a Danico Autry. He looked really good when he was playing with DeForest Buckner and Grover, and then he didn't really
I thought he looked
do
really
He was
good in
good in
much.
Tennessee.
Tennessee
Yeah,
too.
he looked
He
really
was
good in
good in
Tennessee, dude.
Tennessee.
He looked,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
dude,
Jefferson was too. The
I was
Jefferson was.
screaming at the top of my
Yeah,
lungs when we let him go and he went to Tennessee. I hate when players I really, really like go to the rivals, and division rivals because it makes it hard because I'm always gonna be conflicted. I always want to be fair and honest. Like when I see Nico doing really good, even with Tennessee, I'm still rooting for him. He's still a Colt in my heart. I have very fond memories of watching him play for us. Nico after every sack. That's my dog. But no,
yeah,
he's a dog. He's a really good player, man. He's not one of those elite pass rushers, but he's one of those guys that like when you have a really good pass rusher, like he's extremely valuable to that roster. And it
yeah.
sucked seeing him go. Him and we lost him and Justin Houston at the same time. Oh my god, that sucked. That
He
sucked.
got quitting pay after that. Oh
I
gosh.
know it's all Chris Ballard's fault there. That's
What
okay.
about
You know
Devin
what?
White?
Hey, slowly starting to get mad at them. What'd you say?
What about Devin White from the Raiders? He's a free agent. I think he's only.
Mm,
I thought he was older. He's only
I
27.
saw him. I'm not a fan. I'm not a
I
fan.
might go for that.
He was good. He was good. He was good in Tampa Bay, but he was solid with the Raiders too. But
Yeah. Nah, I mean, I
we'll
guess
see.
I'm not a fan. I listed the names of all the guys when I went through the list of all the linebackers that were going to be available. I listed all the guys that I would want to see. If it's none of those guys, I'll give me someone in the draft at least, man. But I'll be a little upset. Moving on to the next position at free agent that I want to see us address in free agency, because obviously there's places that I want to see us address in drafts, and we're gonna have another episode because we're an hour and a half on this episode. We're gonna do another episode for draft stuff and everything later down in the offseason. And we're not going to be done with free agency episodes either. We're going to be talking about this pretty much until free agency starts in March and all the way through the offseason. So this is kind of our early projections of what we want. So obviously number one was Trey Hendrickson. I'm crossing him off my list. I'm crossing him off my list for one specific reason. I don't think we're going to afford the contract that he needs.
Yeah.
Now, we already talked about players we would be willing to move on from and via trade to open up some cap space. I feel weird saying that I'll cross him off my list. Once I said it out loud, I wrote it down, right? I wrote it down, and it felt good writing it. Saying it out loud kind of pissed me off. I'm uncrossing him. I like him. He's not my favorite name on the list. Let me just put it that. He's not my favorite name on the list. He's definitely the most impactful name on the list. There is not an edge rusher you're going to find in free agency that is going to bring an immediate impact the way Trey Hendrickson can make an immediate impact. They take the injuries and all. I don't care. He's one of them ones at the edge rusher position, right? That he's one of them ones. But again, it's just he's probably going to be due up for a massive deal. And I don't think we're in a position to give away a massive deal to a new player. I did put down Khalil Mack as an option. Khalil Mack has one of the best productions in the NFL this past season as a pass rusher, just very limited with snaps because of his age. And so he's not my favorite name on this list for that reason. We need a guy that could be a little bit more full-time. But he's a guy that, to me, can make an immediate impact as well, although it'll be limited snaps. That's the only issue I have with him is limited snaps. But he would also be a much cheaper contract, and you might be able to bring in another guy that, let's say, like maybe a guy like Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett could be a guy that you look at. I don't know what his contract's going to look like because Derek Barnett has kind of been inconsistent, if you will. I don't know too much about his injury history. But Derek Barnett's a guy that, like, I don't see him taking a super massive deal. He had a pretty good season this year. But he's a rotational guy at the end of the day. And I think that's what the league views him as, is a rotational guy.
Yeah.
So if you could give me Khalil Mack and Derek Barnett, I will throw hands with anyone that wants to fire Chris Ballard. I will start to host fight nights in the man cave. If you want to fire Chris Ballard, pull up. You know, if we got those guys, let me tell you. Clowney's another name. Clowney's another name.
No.
I like Clowney a lot, man. I've always liked Clowney. High motor, strong guy, good run defense, good pass rush. Definitely could take a smaller contract than guys like Trey Hendrickson. And I think he's improved his game over this past season. I think he looks good. And I know his ceiling seemed very high at first, and then he stopped meeting expectations, and it started to look like we might be wrong about Jadeveon Clowney for some time. I still see a high motor. I see a guy with a high motor, and I see a guy who's effective, has a very strong arsenal of pass rush moves. And again, one of those guys that's hybrid because he's very good in the run defensive spot as well. So I think you get a win-win with him.
Chase Young from New Orleans.
Chase Young, I don't think is going anywhere in New Orleans. I know New Orleans has a lot of guys to play. Remember when I said that about their DeMario Davis? And I know, so Chase Young is one of those guys. Chase Young, I think you need to give him a contract. You do not let the guy like Chase Young walk. So I kind of don't see it being real that he leaves, but I don't think you let him leave. The way that he played this year for them, I don't see them letting him leave. If they do, hey, I'd love me some Chase Young on my team.
Let me trade for him too. That was a guy I wanted.
And now the last name on my list, the only concern for me is availability because of injuries. But he's younger than any of the other guys on this list. And I think he's probably more productive than any of the guys on the list except for Trey Hendrickson. Jalen Phillips. The Eagles may or may not re-sign him. I don't know if they will because I think that the performance he showed since joining Philly earned him a nice long-term deal with a team. And I don't know if the Philadelphia Eagles will commit to a long-term deal with Jalen Phillips. They have so many mouths to feed in Philly. And they're that team that's so loaded that you're gonna start coming up on that time where they're gonna be feeding the free agency pool just because of they can't afford all the guys that they have on their team. And I think Jalen Phillips might be a casualty of that, and he did a great job marketing himself with the Philadelphia Eagles. I personally would love to have Jalen Phillips. The injury history is what bothers me the most, but if that's the guy you go with, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it was weird because with the like I said with the injury history, and I mean you sign a guy, you might only get him 40% of the season.
Again,
You get like over.
I know that that's the risk you take with Jalen, but can I ask you guys, with the production that he provides, do you
He's worth
still
the
like
risk.
it?
Yeah, he's worth the risk. I mean,
I'd like
what
to think
about
so.
Bradley Chubb? You're gonna get about the same production, but he's a little older.
Bradley Chubb is I think Bradley Chubb's got to
He's
be
20.
how
Yeah,
old is Bradley?
29, right? Like 29, 30.
Yeah, I thought he's 28, 28, 29. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, like, get
Isn't he still
someone
under
for one
contract
year.
with the Dolphins though?
The Dolphins, yeah, he got like 2 more years, I
He's
think.
got like a fat contract with the Dolphins.
Yeah, but they might release him though.
I don't know if
I
they
was gonna
can,
say,
dude.
get
I gotta see the cap hit, bro. I gotta let me check over the cap real quick because Bradley Chubb, like you cut him or something. Oh, brother, they're not moving on from him, dog. Let me tell you, $23 million in dead cap. That is not happening.
I don't know
I was
if
gonna
they move
say
on
get
from.
someone, get like get Bosa or something for a year, and see, and then develop JTT
the
because we
JT
can't just wait till
Tuimoloau or something like that.
Tuililamo
like we
Mamo. I don't know how to say his name either, but I know the
yeah
Ohio
like we
State
just
guy, right?
drafted him at the second round. Like we're not gonna just not
Yeah.
play him.
I get
We
it.
got to develop him and see what we got.
I get
He
it.
remind me of Henderson. He kind of remind me of Henderson a little bit. He could
Yeah.
be that guy. Like he
Yeah.
shows some little flashes, but he is kind of slow. He needs to get a little faster, but he has
Yeah.
power.
They might
So
listen.
we'll
I just looked
see.
at it. If they cut him post June 1st, so after June 1st, Bradley Chubb can become available after that, and they'll only take $10 million in dead cap, and they'll free up $20 million off their cap.
There you go.
So hey, you might be right. Hey, you might be right, dog. Let me tell you. Hey, I'll take Bradley Chubb too. Let me tell you something.
Bro, we need
I
edge,
think there's a
man, for
lot that's better
anyone,
than what
bro.
we have, and there's so much out there that's better
Anyone,
than what we
bro.
have.
We need
Yeah.
edge really, really bad, bro.
Now there's two safeties in
Anyone.
free agency. There's two safeties in free agency that I want to bring up because it's possible that they become free agents. And I don't know what the cost is going to be exactly, but I think we let Nick Cross walk, and I think that we could probably get at least one of these guys for a cheaper rate. One, it depends because these guys are a little bit older, right? They're not a little bit older than Nick Cross. They're just a little bit older generally. They're older than Nick Cross. The first guy is Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers, I think, is a very interesting piece. And what is he's in Pittsburgh right now, so it's
Oh, it's in Pittsburgh. Oh yeah, I
yeah,
forgot.
he left the Patriots, went to Pittsburgh. I like Jabril, dude. I like Jabril. I like him a lot, and I think he's done a really good job with them. And I think he plays very similar style to Nick Cross, and I think he's a better player. I think Nick Cross has a good ceiling, and he's young, and so he can definitely develop into a really, really good safety. So maybe he could surpass Jabril Peppers. But I think that if you can get Jabril Peppers cheaper than Nick Cross, which I believe you 100% can do, I would take Jabril Peppers, 100%.
Yeah, because they're more in a win now mode. So
Yeah,
Jabril Peppers.
The second name on this list is arguably the most hated player in the history. I've never hated a player more. It has nothing to do with how he plays in real life. It has everything to do with what he does to me in Madden. Not him himself, but like the player in Madden. What happens every time I play the Titans. When I used to play the Titans, this guy would kill me. He's no longer on the Titans, I don't believe. No, he's on the Bears now. Kevin Byard. Kevin Byard, I think, would be a phenomenal piece to add to us. I know he's
a free
on the.
safety.
What's
He's a free
that?
safety. He's a free safety.
Yes,
Right?
but Byard plays a physical form breed of football that you can easily transform into a box safety the way Nick Cross plays. And I think that we need a guy that can be better in coverage at that position because that was a huge part of our problem with the over-the-top thing. I like the way Cam Bynum plays over-the-top as a free safety and stuff. I think if we have another guy that can do that hybrid role, which is Kevin Byard is a player that can run that hybrid role, I would like Kevin Byard, and he's an absolute ball hawk. So let me get a guy that can give us some turnovers on top of that. Because, again, we have plenty of run stoppers. I think you could shift this scheme a little bit to where you have more two safety over the top kind of play if that's necessary. The number one guy on my list was Jabril Peppers because he fits the exact mold of the player that we would want to replace Nick Cross. With Kevin Byard, you would have to shift things a little. But I'm down with that. I'm cool with that because I think we have a lot of pieces that can make a shift work. And Kevin Byard would be a guy that can bring you a guy that can take the ball away. He's a ball hawk. He's great in coverage, and he's good run defense as well. He does not struggle in run defense. He's not a guy that misses tackles very often. He's not a guy that is not capable of playing in the box if he needs to or anything. He's a good blitzer. I like Byard a lot. In real life, I hate him in Madden. Absolutely despise him in Madden. He picks me off 4 times a game when I see him.
I like it. We need coverage.
And the rest I would look at. I would look into the draft. The rest we could look into the draft. Again, I think generally, and I think this is the thing that we've figured out over the last almost 2 hours of our conversation here is that I think we're so close that it's literally just comes down to a couple moves that, to be fair with you, I don't think we can be all that upset either way they go about it with certain decisions. Like, at least personally for me, like, I'm not upset. I know you guys might not share the sentiment, but I'm not upset if we don't re-sign Daniel Jones. Whether we sign him or re-sign him, I'm not real crazy upset about that. I'm not crazy upset about if we do or don't re-sign Alec Pierce, as long as we still keep Michael Pittman if we lose Alec Pierce. I wouldn't be super upset with keeping or letting Braden Smith walk. Like I said before, I don't think he's regressed as much as many people think. I think he's still a far more than serviceable right tackle. He's a really good player. I think the only people I would be upset with us bringing back would be, I would be upset with Kwity Paye coming back. I think we just let that guy walk, let him find his way somewhere else in the league. It hasn't worked out here. Other than that, I can't tell you. Nick Cross, again, that's a guy where if they decide to sign him, I'm on board. He's a good player. If you can make the money work, Ballard, more power to you. The only reason I'm letting most of the guys walk is because I don't see how we make the money work. If he can make the money work, I'm okay with you bringing them all back minus Kwity Paye. But again, when I say make the money work, I also mean you need to address the edge rusher spot. So if re-sign those guys means we don't get any of the guys we named at linebacker or edge, then I'm not on board. Simple as that. I need to get at least one of those guys that we mentioned.
Yes. On the edge.
Yeah.
I think, for defense, that's the priority is edge because it's so tiring just seeing the quarterback have 5-6 seconds to throw. And people, corners are bad. The corners were bad, or injured corners, but I mean, realistically, you can't guard someone for more than 5 seconds.
It was bad, dude.
Not even South Garner can.
Listen,
not even.
It was bad. You're not wrong at all. It was really, really bad at the end of the season. It wasn't nearly as bad at the beginning of the season. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there was a lot more pass downs, pass rushing sets that you had. You had a lot more chances to create that pass rush earlier on because we were holding really large leads. And the other part about that, I think, too, was you were much healthier earlier in the year. You had DeForest Buckner. You had Charvarius Ward, at least for a little bit of that beginning part of the season. You had Kenny Moore, at least for some portion of that beginning part of the season. You had all those guys were healthy and playing, and I think that all impacts it. So coverage was a little bit better as well. And I think you mentioned in Discord where a lot of those things were coverage sacks. I don't discredit guys on the edge for coverage sacks. You credit the guys in coverage, but you still got to get there. You still got to make a play happen. And it's extremely exhausting as a lineman trying to fight for as long as you have to with those coverage sacks. So you still credit those guys because there's not a lot of people in the world that have the motor to be able to continuously fight for 5 seconds, 6 seconds on the line of scrimmage to finally break free and get the sack. So I don't take anything away from a guy that has a coverage sack. Like, you did your job at the end of the day still, so.
Well, do you remember the game against the Chargers where Justin Herbert threw like 400 yards?
420 yards. Yeah, I was at
420,
that
yeah.
game. I was at that
Oh,
game.
okay, okay. Yeah, so that was a good example we were talking about with the pass rush. Because there are times, like, I think it was like 3rd and 20 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And all they had to do was just get the stop. I don't remember if they got a first down or not, but that's a good example of how we need a pass rush.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you.
Carving us up.
D-Buck single-handedly wrecked the game. He saved us. And then I'll give
Yeah.
credit to the guy I always, hate on, but Zaire Franklin had that
Yes,
deflection
sir. His
right in front of
favorite
me. It happened right. I was
player.
sitting on the end
His
zone. I was
favorite
sitting on the end zone
player.
Yeah.
seat. It happened right in front of me. And then I
Yeah.
thought it was a touchdown. And my heart rose. I was like, oh my God, touchdown. Zaire comes. He just deflects it last second, and he was celebrating. And then of course, I was gonna celebrate. I was like, okay, he's a splash play guy.
Hi, Ziggy.
Don't make-
Hi,
Yeah,
Ziggy.
Yeah.
but
All right.
yeah,
All right, man. Let me
D-Buck.
let me wrap this up here. Now we've gone on for about 2 hours. So to wrap this up, guys, let's just let me think of a fun way to wrap it up. Right? Give me your number one guy, the guy that you absolutely have to see in Indianapolis. That's a free agent that you want to see us bring in. Who's the guy? We'll start with Lon.
You said bring in or bring like back, like
Bring in. So a guy from free agency, a splash play, if you will, or a must add. Who's the guy in your mind that has to come to Indianapolis?
if Henderson is possible. I mean,
Hendrickson?
if it's
Okay.
possible, yeah, if it's possible. If not, then Joey Bosa, because he's not the same player he was, but he will free up
Mm-hmm.
D-Buck. He'll free up Latu. He'll free up those guys, because D-Buck's getting double team. Latu gets a lot of chips, so now they have to account for the other side. So
All right, all
either
right.
of those guys.
Jesse, who you got?
I think me.
Who is it?
I think I'll have to go with Hendrickson again.
Yep. So I think everyone's gonna go with Hendrickson on this. I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna blow your minds. I think the number one absolute must target player for the Indianapolis Colts in free agency. Give me Leo Chenal, man. Make it happen, Chris. Give me Leo. I want a dog out there. I want a real dog out there. Tell me Leo Chenal is not gonna be like I'm telling you right now, man. And off the shoulder injuries hard, and I think it makes it a little bit easier to leverage some value in the contract negotiations. Give me a star linebacker to go onto this roster right here, and I think things shift drastically for the Colts. You saw what happened with when we got Darius Leonard, Shaq Leonard. It created a lot more for our defense. The linebacker position is extremely important. I think that's the guy I want to see more than anyone. That's who I would want to see in Colts blue more than anyone. All right, man. Listen, I appreciate you guys' time. Jesse, Lam, thank you. Ben, thank you. When you're watching this at home, you'll see I thanked you again. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I know this is the longest episode of the year. 2 hours to wrap up the season. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little notification button. Make sure you get notified. And if you want to join the conversation, as always, link is in the description of the video. Join the Discord. Talk crap with us. We're constantly in Voice of the Colts Discord talking it up about the Colts, and it's a great time all the time. So if you want to join the conversation, even if you don't really want to be on the podcast, but you want to join the conversation with fellow Colts fans, you can join that Discord. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. And you know what? Until the next episode, I think we're going to do this a little bit less regularly since it's the off season and we don't have news doesn't flow super quickly as we're entering the postseason. It's not going to really start flowing until after the Super Bowl and as we into March. So we may get a little bit less frequent with the episodes. So make sure you tune in on the using the notifications, and that way you get notified whenever we do post. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Love you guys. Till next time. Peace.